From San Jose State, left cornerback number 20, Louis Wright. From Michigan, right cornerback number 31, Mike Harden.
What we waiting for right here.
From USC, strong safety number 49, Dennis Smith. From Tulane, the free safety number 43, Steve Foley. The head coach, Dan Reeves, and the rest of the Bronco players and coaches. Now the NFC champions, the New York Giants. The Giants out early. As is their tradition, the whole team comes out to welcome the starters, which will be the defensive unit. You can see them gathering with their coach Bill Parcells, waiting to welcome. And that looks like the famous bucket in the middle of the crowd. From Oregon, the left defensive end, number 75, George Martin. From Miami, the nose tackle, number 64, Jim Burt.
Hey, man, get the fuck out of there.
From LSU, the right defensive end, number 70, Leonard Marshall. From Michigan State, linebacker number 58, Carl Banks. From Northwest Louisiana, linebacker number 55, Gary Reasons. From South Carolina State, linebacker number 53, Harry Carson. From North Carolina, linebacker number 56, Lawrence Taylor. From Kansas, the left cornerback, number 34, Elvis Patterson. From North Carolina State, right cornerback, number 23, Perry Williams. From Yale, the strong safety, number 48, Kenny Hill. And from UCLA, the free safety, number 27, Herb Welch. Coach Bill Parcells and the rest of the Giant players and coaches. Super Bowl number 21 coming up, and we'll be back with the national anthem and the kickoff and the rest of today's action in Jackson. Patterson, Lewis Wright, and Rich Carlos, and the Giant captain, Harry Carson. With us today to toss the coin is Green Bay Packer Hall of Famer Willie Davis. The referee for today's game, Jerry Markbright, will now conduct the coin toss ceremony.
For the visiting team, Captain Jackson will call it in the air. The faces, the heads, the trophy, tails. Willie, flip it. Tails is the call. It's tails. Denver wins the toss. You want to receive. Denver won the toss. They're going to receive. Good luck, gentlemen. Have a terrific game.
Again, the referee is Jerry Markbright. And the stage is set. Denver won the toss, chose to receive. John Madden, I don't know that there's any way you could hope for better weather, better playing conditions.
Well, I think that some of the big, giant defensive players would wish it were a little cooler. That was one of the things that Bill Parcells was worried about, that, you know, at the end of the season, they played back there in New York in all that cold weather, and he was worried about his team's cardiovascular conditioning. They said the one thing we don't want is a warm day.
Well, it's 77 degrees right now. It probably will cool down to the mid-40s by the time the sun goes down. But again, I guess when you play in those conditions, as they have back at Giant Stadium down the stretch when it was cold, you can run, but you really don't perspire or work out. You don't really get the same things done that you do in warm weather.
Well, and you don't even stay out as much. Now you say, well, how about the Broncos? And you always talk about that altitude, that mile-high altitude, that their cardiovascular conditioning, their endurance should be better.
Raul Alegre will kick off number 2. He was outstanding down the stretch. Gene Wang and Ken Bell, 33 and 35, stand back deep for the Broncos. Alegre gets it underway. It's going to be Lang at about the 1. Outside the 20, about the 23, knocked down by Tom Flynn. A return of 22 yards. John Elway, the outstanding athlete at quarterback for Denver. The defense he will be facing, a 3-man front, George Martin, Jim Burt in the middle, and Leonard Marshall, already introduced. 4 outstanding linebackers, Banks, Reasons, Carson, and Lawrence Taylor in the secondary. They play a zone. Patterson and Williams on the corners, Kenny Hill and Herb Welch, the 2 safety. Elway to throw on first down, comes out of the pocket. This is what they dreaded. Elway scrambles on first down, chased by Harry Carson, knocked out of bounds, a gain of 10. Close enough, I believe, they're going to have to measure it. Here's the Bronco offense. Elway, the quarterback. Winder and Wilhite start when they use 2 backs. Vance Johnson and Steve Watson, the wide receivers. In front, Studdard, Bishop, Brian, Cooper, Lanier, and Clarence Kay, the tight end. They're going to measure.
It's an interesting thing. They brought Lawrence Taylor on a blitz, and he came on the outside, and John Elway ran right inside of Lawrence Taylor. He ran to the same side that Taylor came from and picked up the first down.
First down, Denver. That's the one thing you talk about on offense. You got to stop Joe Morris. You look at the Broncos, you have to contain Elway.
And then when he runs, you have to contain him. When he throws, you better have all those receivers. You better have those guys covered, because he can pick it up and zip it to them.
2 tight ends set up now with Orson Mobley on the right side, lined up behind Kay, and Mobley on the move. Draw play, Winder. Nothing. Marshall there first.
Sammy Winder.
An assist from Banks. Taylor. They try to rip the ball loose.
The one thing about the Broncos, they're not a big running team. They hardly ever run outside anyway, and against this giant defense, you're not going to get outside. This guy, John Elway, is going to pass. They're going to use that ball control passing game. And when they do run, it's usually inside with a lot of draw plays like that one we just saw.
We'll see a lot of those, I think, don't you?
I think a lot of screens and draws.
2nd and 9. Ball's at the Bronco 35. Hopefully again, that's this Clarence Clay. This K this time on the move. Will Height tripped up. Gain of 2. Will bring up 3rd and long.
That's just what I said. You're not going to run outside against this giant defense. Watch Carl Banks, 58, coming from the outside. I think towards the end of the season, he's become one of the best players in the whole league. You can't run at him. You know, you say you want to run away from Lawrence Taylor. That's good, but you have to run into him.
Took a couple of years after he was their first-round draft choice, but you're right. He has really developed into an outstanding linebacker. Elway will operate from the spread formation this time. Jackson in Giant territory. Hit by Collins, but a first down Denver.
That's what John Elway was telling us is his favorite thing to do. Get in the shotgun, have his 4 wide receivers, spread that coverage out, and then be able to pick all these fast guys. Watch Mark Jackson here in the outside. He just turned Elvis Patterson right around. Patterson was staying outside. He got him out there, and he came to the inside.
Not a big guy, but great quickness. Vance Johnson split wide to the right. Watson to the left. First down Denver at the Giant 39. Elway back to throw. Winder in the middle. Stopped by Reasons, but a gain of 5. That's what Elway was saying to us. I've got to be patient. If it's not there deep, I got to take it like this.
Well, let's take a look at it. This is the way it starts. Now we'll just let it go. We'll look at the zone that Elway is looking at. It's a first down pass. We'll see. Now, if we can stop it right here. You see, you got the 2 guys deep. You're never going to get out there, so he has to hit this underneath area in here. That's what that double deep zone looks like.
2nd and 5. Wang, one of the running backs, along with Winder. Winder with the ball. Stopped by Banks again after a gain of 3.
I think that Carl Banks went from being the other linebacker with Lawrence Taylor to being, hey, you better look at this guy, to being one of the best players in the league. I'll tell you, the games, the playoff game against 49ers, the championship game against the Redskins are the 2 best games I've seen a linebacker play.
And that would be Carl Banks. 3rd and 2. He got up, by the way, a little bit slowly after that play. 3 tight ends set up down for the Broncos. Off Winder. No gain. And on comes the barefooted place kicker for the Broncos, number 3, Rich Carlos.
Hey, watch, you're going to get penetration. It's going to be a trap play. We see 54, the guard pulling, and what happened is Banks got inside before Winder could get to the hole. They pulled Keith Bishop, and again, Carl Banks got the penetration.
There's the book on Carlos. Kubiak will be holding from 49 yards out. Timeout.
I think what happened...
Giants, timeout. Giants.
I think the Giants had too many men on the field, Pat. I think we see them there. See, they're trying to get 2 guys off. I think they ended up with 12 guys on the field.
That's right.
So now if they stay that way, then Carlos really gets a free kick. By taking the time out, then he still has to kick from the same area.
And we should write that down somewhere. They only have 2 left here in the first half. And those things, like missed extra points, in time seem to come back and have an effect on the outcome of the game.
Dan Reeves, I know, really didn't want to receive. We were talking to him yesterday, and he said, I would like to kick off. and let my defense play first. In fact, when they played the last time, he said in the Meadowlands, he won the toss, and he elected to kick off.
Which really shocked me.
Well, I think it's that same thing, that he feels his defense is strong and can get him good field position. But here, if he could get this drive and get a field goal here, I'm sure he'd feel pretty good about it. Because we said in 20 Super Bowls, it's only been done once.
This field goal is going to be somewhere between 48 and 49, closer to 49. With Kubiak holding, Rich Carlos. From this distance, he's 8 out of 14, and that's pretty good. He's going to get there. And it's good. The Broncos. Officially, it's 48 yards for Rich Carlos. And Denver leads 3-0. 10:51 left first quarter. Four minutes, 9 seconds. The 48-yard field goal by Carlos ties the longest in Super Bowl history, which was held and set by Jan Stinnerud in 1970. Lee Roussan of the Giants at the 3. Roussan outside the 20 to about the 21. Knocked down by Rick Dennison. Return of 19. Phil Simms, the Giant quarterback, and the defense he'll face, at least in the beginning. They make a lot of changes. Townsend and Rulon Jones, the ends. Greg Cragen in the middle. The linebackers, Ryan Mecklenburg, Hunley, and Jackson. And in the secondary, Wright and Harden on the corners, and Smith and Foley, the safety men. First down, Giants at their own 22. Lionel Manuel starting and split wide to the right. Sims going to work early. To Manuel. First down, Giants at about the 38. In front of Louis Wright. Giant offensive setup has Sims, of course, the quarterback, Joe Morris and Maurice Carthon, the runners. Johnson and Manuel starting wide. And up front, the group that's been together so long, Benson, Ard, Oates, Godfrey, and Nelson, and the tight end, Mark Bavaro. Bobby Johnson split wide left, and Manuel moves back in motion, and Sims is going again. Bavaro by Dennis Smith. Gain of 8.
Well, I like this plan of the Giants, Pat, is not coming out, not being conservative, not just starting out running your fullback or running Joe Morris. That's what they want to do. They want to come out, start attacking, start passing, loosen up the defense. Then when they get them loosened up, they get them off balance, then boom, you pop a Joe Morris in there on them. 2nd and 1.5. Stacy Robinson. Split wide to the left this time. Bavaro lines up on the right. Manuel moves. And Morris gets the carry. Morris breaks into the secondary and gets down to the Denver 40, out of bounds there by Steve Foley. Picked up 12. Now, the Giants are doing another interesting thing. The Broncos defense tries to put Mecklenburg on the strong side. That's the side of the tight end. That's where Mark Bavaro is, 89. Now, they have their weak side linebacker, Tom Jackson, there, 57, on Bavaro. They want Mecklenburg on Bavaro. The reason Jackson ends up on him is that Bavaro switched from the left to the right.
He's on the right again. 1st and 10. And Sims up top to Morris. Not much there. 3 yards by Jim Ryan and Louis Wright.
What it is the Broncos think that Joe Morris runs to the strong side most of the time, to the tight end side, which he does. So they want to put Mecklenburg, number 77, on that side. They want to put Mecklenburg the whole game where they think Joe Morris is going to run. That's Joe Collier, the defensive coordinator. Watch Mecklenburg. He looks, he sees the formation, then he lines up on this side. But then Bavaro moves to the other side, and Mecklenburg's back here.
2nd and 8. Morris again. Out of bounds inside the Denver 30, but there's a flag down on the play. Foley chased him out of bounds. Morris got 11. But now they'll have a conference.
Looks like holding. Giants, yeah.
Late flag.
It must have been downfield holding. Most holding occurs in the offensive line.
Holding, number 89, offense, second down.
And that was it. 89, of course, is Mark Bavaro, the tight end. We saw him earlier on a play hold Tom Jackson. Now watch him here. He's on the end of the line of scrimmage, again blocking Jackson. See, he had that right hand up there early. Then he took him down there, and then the flag did come in later. I don't know. It's tough when you're wearing blue gloves and you're blocking a guy with a white jersey. Your hand on him is very easy to see.
2nd and 18. The Giants back at the Denver 49. To Morris again. Morris hammers down to the 41. Stopped by Joe Morris. But he still got 8.
You know, it's an interesting thing. They have yet to get Mecklenburg to the side that Morris runs. You see, Mecklenburg is up on top of the screen. We can see it here. Mecklenburg is here. They would like him in here because this is where they want to run. But by switching Bavaro, they're getting Mecklenburg away from where they want to run.
Pretty solid plan. 3rd and 10. Tony Galbraith back in the backfield next to Sims. Now it's McConkey in motion. Sims to Stacy Robinson. And the Giants get their first down.
That was a good move by Stacy Robinson. Watch him. He's going to end up running an out. You see, he started to the inside, and he got the corner, Steve Wilson, to bite for the inside move. Then he went back to the sidelines.
So that makes it 1st and 10 at the Bronco 23. Denver leading 3-0. McConkey this time split up at the top of your picture. Johnson was the man in motion, but this is Morris. This time Ricky Hundley and Mecklenburg get the job done.
Well, like I said, Joe Collier, the defensive coordinator in the Broncos, wanted them to have to run into Mecklenburg. But by shifting the tight end, they've kept him away. But now Mecklenburg, they're running away from him. He knows they're trying to stay away from him. So he sees that tackle pull. Watch him. He just comes right down the line. Don't go where the back is. Go down the line where he's going to be. He'll show up there, you know.
This guy, they didn't think he was much of a player when drafted, Mecklenburg, but they couldn't keep him out of the lineup, and they still can't. Sims back to throw. Bavaro. And he's down to about the 5.5, a gain of 18. It'll be 1st and goal Giants. He's stopped by Randy Robbins.
Mark Bavaro is so big and so strong and has such great hands. Watch him here. He's going to start to the outside, but he's going to run Dennis Smith up the field, turn him back to the inside of Robbins up the field, and then he just has that big body and those great hands.
He just sort of swatted the defender aside. It's 1st and goal from the 6.
He does a lot of swatting of guys aside.
It does. And carrying guys. And running over guys. Down. Zeke Moat. From 6 yards away.
I was just saying, Pat, that drive is a Super Bowl drive. It's an all-star drive. Moat is the motion man. See him on top of the screen? He came across the formation, up the field, and then back across in the end zone where he originally came from.
Allegre with Jeff Rutledge holding. 7-3. Giants lead. So with 5:27 gone in the 1st quarter at the Rose Bowl, The Giants lead the Broncos 7-3. Denver 3. We're in the first quarter with 5:27 remaining. Giants took 9 plays in that drive. Sims was 6 for 6. And the touchdown pass to Mowat. Allegre's kickoff goes to Bell. Bell with a little room. Bell almost with a lot of room. Stopped again by Tom Flynn, but a return of 28 yards. Allegre's kick short.
Phil Sims is over there on the sideline talking about that touchdown and about how he got it. Watch for his motion. Here's Zeke Mowat. He's going to come across the field of motion. Now the Broncos, this guy's covering him. When he goes in motion, this guy switches. Mowat comes up, boom, beats him here, catches the ball for a touchdown. Watch him now. He starts there, comes across. See the switch in the Bronco defense? Then up and in and touchdown.
Broncos go this time with one setback. That's Watson in motion. Elway fakes. Gets it out to Winder. Winder for the Giant 44. Stopped by Welch finally. And Harry Carson. But they gain 14 and get a Bronco first down.
That's that patience that John Elway was talking about. Go that play pass. Look deep, but don't throw it deep. Don't force anything. You see there, he's looking deep. Now he sees Winder underneath. You see the linebackers are deep. You see 53 Carson back there? Let him go back. Let 56 Taylor go back. Let them all get deep and then hit Winder underneath. Then if they start coming up on that, then boom, go deep.
First down, Denver, and Elway drops again. Lions outside, this time Mobley. Big Orson gets another Denver first down. Gain of 11. He weighs about 265 or somewhere in that area.
Or more. Number 89 is Orson Mobley there. He's only a rookie, but he's about 270 pounds. Dan Reeves said he was originally 256. Then they gave him a weight of 260, so he got up to 265. He said he looked a little slow last week against Cleveland. He said, so I put him on the scales, and he was over 270, and he's a tight end.
Still has not been an incomplete pass in the game. Sims 6 for 6 on the drive, and Elway just as efficient, and drops again. Gonna throw a screen. It's Winder. Knocked out of bounds finally by Harry Carson, but that's near another Denver first down. Gain of 9. They might be a little bit short. Flag on the play.
It's something out of bounds. It was a hit out of bounds, so it's going to be a 15-yard penalty. The Broncos don't run wide, but in lieu of that, they do a lot of that screen-type stuff.
That's Pepper Johnson over with the officials, and the discussion continues.
I think it looked like a hit, Pat, out of bounds, a late hit.
We have 2 fouls on the play of the Giants. Their fouls are being forced. Personal foul, late hit out of bounds, number 53, defense. Unsportsmanlike conduct foul, number 56, for throwing the marker after the foul is called. First down.
Well, let's look again.
Well, here's the screen pass. There's Winder. Someone made a good block on Taylor. Now, that was the first penalty there. That was on Carson for hitting Winder out of bounds. Then the guy threw the thing, and Lawrence Taylor threw the marker.
And as Jerry Markbright said, both penalties were enforced, and so the Broncos are down to the 6-yard line, where it'll be first and goal. That was serious.
Well, you know, there was a lot. I think Lawrence Taylor got upset because he was the guy that was responsible for that screen pass, and he got knocked down, and that allowed Winder to get outside of him.
First and goal at the 6. Bobby Michaud with the right side. Elway not happy with what he saw, and Denver takes a timeout, furnishing those pictures from above the Rose Bowl and 105,000 people. First and goal from the 6 for the Broncos. The Giants leading 7-3. Wilhite and Sewell now are the two backs. Sewell with the ball. Sewell cut down by Elvis Patterson. A loss of 3. And Carl Banks again with an assist.
I'll tell you, I would think the Broncos, they get down here. This is where Elway says he really doesn't like to be, because it kind of shortens that pass area. They aren't a real powerful offensive team, and I think he would like to play pass here, but when you lose yardage and you have long yardage, it's tough to play pass. I think he's just going to have to go back and throw it in the end zone.
They're just really not a very big physical team, and I think you're exactly right. Elway thinks so too as he operates out of the spread. Middle. Inside to 5 to Vance Johnson. A gain of 6. And it'll be 3rd and goal from there. He stopped by Reasons.
There's Dan Reeves. And you see Gary Kubiak, number 8, is a backup quarterback with signals. The first thing they signal in is 4. That means 4 wide receivers. So this is going to be a spread formation. Then they signal in the pass pattern.
Since the playoffs began, this is the deepest penetration against the Giants. 3rd and goal from the 4, and the 4 wide receivers. Jackson goes in motion. Elway up the middle, touchdown.
Can't give him a lane. That's what the Giants did, and that's what makes Elway so effective. He can not only throw it as strong as anyone, but you get the 4 wide receivers. You get that defense spread. Now he comes back. He looks for a hole. Look at that big gap. See, they just turn the ends out. The linebackers run out, and there's a hole like a truck for Elway to run through.
The center, Bryan, with an outstanding block. And the Broncos recaptured the lead at 7. Still in the first quarter. The scoring drive, 6 plays, 58 yards. Elway scored on a 4-yard run. Rich Carlos set to kick it off. Roussan and Hill back deep for the Giants. Roussan at his own 7. First by Robbins, down by Woodard.
Let's watch the touchdown again, Matt. Here's Dave Studdard. He turns out Leonard Marshall, gets that out there. Billy Bryan makes a good block on Burt, gets him going there, and this forms the hole for Elway. Then Keith Bishop leads through here in the linebacker. I got too many scratches in there. Watch the tackle will turn out on Marshall, Studdard. Watch the center, Billy Bryan. See, he gets Burt going that way. Look at that big hole there. And then Keith Bishop leads him into the end zone.
10-7. Broncos lead. 1st and 10 Giants at their own 22. Sims again to throw. Again complete. This time Morris. Almost 30-yard line. Andre Townsend made the stop, but a gain of 7. There still hasn't been any complete pass.
I was just going to say the balls are being kept in good condition. There's yet to be a football hit the ground here. There's Bill Belichick. He's the defensive coordinator of the Giants.
One of the things you have to do to be a defensive coordinator is to learn to write upside down.
Write upside down and talk while you're writing, and then know what they just did. He's just diagramming to them what we just diagrammed.
2nd and 2 at the 30. Sims to Morris. Morris first down Giants. Woodard again on the stop. 17 points. Denver leading 10-7. That ties Super Bowl record.
There'll be a lot of records around here.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone says it's always a boring Super Bowl. It could end up to be boring, but it sure has a pretty good start to it.
Roussan and Anderson both in the game. Anderson is the lone setback, number 24. O.J. Anderson on 1st and 10. Anderson left side hit behind the line of scrimmage. Mecklenburg was first there, a loss of 2.
I think what the Giants are trying to do there was to maybe play O.J. Anderson a little more today, but use the halfback as a decoy and run the other back being O.J. Anderson. That didn't fool Mecklenburg.
Clock down to no seconds, and that's the Super Bowl number 21. The Giants with Morris left side and some room.
Joe Morris.
Morris hit by Tony Lilly. One of the things that the Broncos do is change the people around on defense, and the Giants say it doesn't have an effect, but it has to have an effect. You don't know who you're blocking.
Well, you don't, and you have to block different guys all the time. So we can see Fletcher's in there now, Gilbert's in there, Wilson's in it at cornerback, Lilly's in for Foley. They substitute just about everyone except 3 guys, and those 3 would be Rulon Jones, Carl Mecklenburg, and Dennis Smith. They're about the only 3 that don't come out of that defense.
3rd and 3, Sims from the shotgun. Up on top and nobody there. McConkey is saying, hey, they interfered with me, knocked me down. Phil McConkey jumped up and started waving arms, but to no avail.
Not only did he say that they knocked me down, I think he was giving the guy's number who knocked him down. Sims gets a little pressure from his right. But other than that, pretty good pass protection, so he can step up. You see Rulon Jones got there right at the end.
And so Sean Landeta comes on to punt. Freddie Gilbert back deep for the Broncos. Landeta had a great week in practice. Going after it, but he still gets off a fine kick. It's Wilhite. He lets it bounce, and it goes into the end zone, and the Broncos will start from their own 20. Mark Jackson was the man who put the pressure on Landeta, who nevertheless got off a 59-yard kick. But they'll bring it back out to the 20.
Hey, you talk about Landeta punting well in practice. How about against the Redskins in that championship game? That punt that he put down there on the goal line into the wind was one of the great punts that I've ever seen.
Bill Parcells was saying when we talked with him yesterday that in practice he had never seen Landeta better.
Well, he said the same thing about Phil Sims. He said on Thursday it was about as good as he's ever practiced. He told him, hey, save some of those.
Reed said the same thing about Elway. Lang, the ball carrier, pulled down by Lawrence Taylor for a loss of 2.
Yeah, that has to be a tough thing for an offensive coordinator, a quarterback, to call. You run one time, they start running at Banks. Early in the first quarter, they didn't make anything there. So we'll say, well, we'll run at Taylor. We'll put Winder on him. Taylor just pushes Winder down, boom, right to the outside. They got bookends there, and which end you want to run at is not a good deal either way.
2nd and 12. Denver up by 3. Mobley is the move man. All the way back. Incomplete. Intended for Mobley. Elway under pressure from Leonard Marshall.
Let's watch Marshall. Now, he's in what they call a reduced position. He's the second guy up there, number 70. He's not over the end. He's over the guard. He works to the outside, taking 2 guys. He starts on the inside, works to the outside, and then Taylor comes inside. So Marshall got there, and Jim Burke was also there.
3rd and 12. Elway wants somebody to move. Motions in that direction, back to throw. Comes out of the pocket. No question about his arm, and he's got a man. Vance Johnson inside the Giant 30.
You know, John Elway has a great arm, one of the greatest arms he's probably ever thrown a football, but he scrambles for 2 positions, for 2 reasons. One, he scrambles to get away from the rush, and 2, when he has no one open. He feels the rush here, and you see this is what he's looking at. So he's going to run out here, buy some more time. Now he's going to get deep. He said that he had to stay patient against the zone, but when he can run, then that zone breaks up, and he can get a speed guy like Vance Johnson deep. Hey, there's Lawrence Taylor being picked up by Keith Bishop. Bishop gave him a wrap around the neck, and then center Billy Bryan came off to help.
Winder and Lang. That was a gain of 54 yards from Elway. Back to throw it again. The screen pass to Winder. To about the 22. Stopped by Pepper Johnson. A gain of 6. Perry Williams with the assist. That's the thing that they had to do. They didn't do it.
And they do that well. It's one of the things that if a defense gets deep in the zone and gives you that loose zone, then you can let them get deep, throw the screen pass out to your receiver, get the lineman out in front, and get a pretty good run at it.
That's the book on Elway, and that's pretty impressive. 2nd and 4. 11:49 left to play in the first half. Marshall throws back across the field, just threw it away. Leonard Marshall looking in his eyes.
Well, that's one of the things that the Giants want to do when Elway goes out to the right. There, you see that signal there? That was Mo for Mobley, meaning 89's coming into the game. And there he is. You know that deal where he puts his hand, it's like the Three Stooges trying to block with 2 fingers in the eyes? That means Mo. And Mo means Mobley.
And Mobley's a big package.
That's a 275-pound Mo.
Elway is 8 out of 10. Vance Johnson on the move, and Elway retreats. Here comes the blitz. Elway unloads. And it's Mobley, and he struggles for enough for a Bronco first down. Pepper Johnson on a stop.
You know, when you get a big guy running across the field, as a quarterback, you can't miss him. Watch, he uses the umpire. He runs right at the official first, then right across the field. Now you got that big target, that 6'5", 270. If you can't find him, you can't see anything.
Stopped by Herb Welch. Dan Reeves was saying to us yesterday, the guy's got a lot to learn, but he's really going to be something. He already is.
I think the way he receives the ball, he's going to be a superstar receiver. He really is. He's a new dimension. They don't have guys that weigh that much out in the open field.
Watson was the man in motion. Gene Lang straight ahead for 3. Stopped by Carson.
You know the Giant defense has been so effective, and of course they were highly favored in this game, but I don't think anyone told Dan Reeves or John Elway about that. They're just going out there and playing them like they're just another group of guys.
They haven't heard about that yet, in spite of everything that's been written.
Yeah, when we talked to Elway the other night, he kind of exuded confidence.
Really.
And had the feeling, I got a secret.
2nd and 7. The ball at the Giant 13, and Elway drops with a lot of time. Complete to Lang inside the Giant 10. He hangs on. A gain of 4, not enough for a first down. Taylor and Patterson on the hit for the Giants.
You know, a group that's doing a good job is that offensive line, because they have that defense of the Giants. They have it pretty well under control, and they are giving John Elway the time.
Tell you, John, he looks very comfortable. You said he looked very confident the other night, but he seems very comfortable with the way things are going. He should be. His team leads 10-7. And they're down post again. Elway. Sewell. Kenny Hill on the stop. Gain of 7 and a Bronco first down.
Sewell is one of those guys who can do everything. He's a running back. He's a receiver. He can play outside receiver. Here, Elway's just throwing him on out. Kenny Hill, number 48, is late getting over there, and Sewell gets it down to the 1. Steve Sewell was injured, and Dan Reeves was saying when he was out, we had something like 4 different guys to get what he gave.
He didn't play in the first meeting, the regular season meeting between these two. Stuttered. A tackle lined up at tight end of right. Elway knocked out of bounds at about the 3 by Lawrence Taylor, a loss of 1.
One one thing that the Giants do is from that backside, they get those guys up as deep as Elway. Where they say when he really gives you trouble is when he runs away and then you let him double back. Then you don't have a chance. And that's what they were doing that last play. They really just pinned Elway right into the sideline.
2nd and goal then. The ball between the 2 and the 3. Denver leading 10-7. Pat Summerall, John Madden, Super Bowl 21. Right ahead and nothing is Will Height. He never got underway. Eric Dorsey was the first man to hit him. An assist from Carson.
We were watching the Giants practice, and the coach always yells at them, you know, nose on the ground, get your heads in the grass, get down there, stay low. I tell you, they did a pretty good job of doing that.
3rd and goal now, and they're still at the same place between the 2 and the 3.
This will be a play pass. They do have a tackle. Dave Stoddard is playing tight end. It could be a tackle eligible. See him down here at the bottom, 70.
Winder. By Banks. They lose 3.
I think a pass would have been a better call. That run didn't have a chance. They got out there and it was met by about 6 or 7 blue jerseys. But it's going to be out to our right, to the Broncos' left. Ball, they get the guy in the backfield, they get Carson, they get Banks coming from behind, the safety in there, everyone's in there. Where Sammy Winder doesn't have a chance. Kerry Williams got penetration into the backfield, made him cut back, and there was nothing there.
So Carlos with his 2nd field goal attempt of the day, this one from 24 yards out. Kubiak holding. Carlos is no good. Sims goes back to throw again. Complete. Bavaro. Dennis Smith, the defender. Giant first down.
Hey, Dennis Smith is a big, tall guy, and he still gets out-muscled here or turned around. Watch him by Bavaro. You see, he just can't get over him. He tried to go over the top, and Bavaro just went down to his knees and counted down below him.
1st and 10, Giants their own 33, and Sims really aired it out. Goes to work again. Finds Stacy Robinson this time. Outside the 40. Gain of 9.
They talked all week about how they had to stop Joe Morris. There's Dexter Manley of the Redskins, who was trying to stop Joe Morris just a couple of weeks ago. But anyway, the Bronco defense really felt they had to stop Joe Morris, and then lo and behold, they come into the game, and it's Phil Simms that they have to stop and the wide receivers.
Well, down the stretch, it was Simms when Morris got stopped that carried the load. Jackson, Tom Jackson, in difficulty. And the Bronco medical staff.
Watch him, Pat. I think he pulled a hamstring. It's a non-contact injury. Watch him. He's coming out here in coverage. Now watch as he start there. He just pulls up right there. See him pull up and start to limp in that right leg. Looked like he just pulled a hamstring or got a cramp.
Woodard takes his place. Ken Woodard, number 52. 2nd and 2. Manual in motion. Handoff to Carthon. He's hit by Rulon Jones. He got 1. Not enough for a first down.
Rulon Jones is one of the Pro Bowl players on this Bronco defense. And like I said, I think that whole thing is built around him. Let's watch him. He's here. He can come up there and then collapse to the inside. He has great range. He has a great motor. Runs about 110 miles an hour. I mean, he goes for 4 quarters at that same pace.
3rd and short. 3rd and 1. The ball's at the 41. The Giants think they can go wide on short yardage. Instead, they go to Morris, and Morris goes straight ahead and gets the first down. That's That's a play that no one else runs, but they run it so well.
And it's just such a simple play. It's just a straight dive into the side that Morris is on. I think one of the reasons it's so effective is Joe Morris usually runs across the backfield. And then on that one, he goes right straight ahead.
First down, Giants, their own 45. Denver leading with 5:13 left in the first half. 10-7. Sims back to throw it. Into the pocket, out of the pocket. Finally gets it out to Carthon, who's hit by Woodard. And he might have gotten a half yard, maybe a 1. Jackson, by the way, sprained his knee on that coverage we saw a minute ago. Non-contact, as John said. We thought it was a hamstring or an ankle or something, but it was a knee. He might be back. Been around a while.
He has been, and this is one of his best years. They thought in the offseason that they didn't want him back, and then he went to worked real hard in the offseason. Really, for one of the first times, got in great shape and had one of his best years this year.
2nd and 9. Tomorrow, hit by Jones, got away from him, stopped by Ryan, and a few more people.
You know, Carl Mecklenburg, number 77, is one of those guys who just loves to play football. Came into the Broncos as a down lineman. He was the last drafter. He's a 12th drafter, 12th round. He said he came in, he said, I was naive. I didn't even know that I couldn't. I thought when you got drafted, you just make the team. He said he was the first guy in his class to get an apartment. And he came in the same year as John Elway.
That's McConkey in motion. Sims back to throw under pressure. Robinson, the receiver. Sims under pressure from Mecklenburg.
I think he gets the pressure, and he really can't step up and get the zip on it. Mecklenburg, you see, he's right down there at his leg. He has one of those leg hook, take, pull downs. And then Sims couldn't step. And then the ball just died on him, and he one-hopped it out there.
Landetta, punt in the direction of Wilhite. Their catch. 38-yard kick. The Broncos take over at their own 15. 1st and 10 with 3:30. It's the NFL on CBS, and it's Super Bowl 21. The New York Giants against the Denver Broncos. We're live at the Rose Bowl with just over 3.5 minutes left to play in the first half. And the Broncos lead the Giants 10-7. Giants were heavy favorites. Winder is the lone setback. Mobley moving over to the right. Elway comes out. From behind. By Leonard Marshall.
That, I think, is where the Giant defense has an advantage against Elway scrambling, is that they have fast guys covering them. Lawrence Taylor is backing off into coverage. We see him, then he comes up. See, he's just spying Elway. He sees he's going to run, then he comes back up, and Leonard Marshall catches him from behind. Now, Taylor on that play is doing what they call a spy. He is just mirroring the quarterback, Elway. If Elway starts to run, he's going to come right at him and make him go right or left.
First sack of the day, a loss of 2. 2nd and 12, Broncos their own 13. Elway back again. Pass complete to Clarence Kay. He was down, and down as a result of contact, but nevertheless. Now they say incomplete.
That's going to be an interesting one.
Kay thought he had it. Dan Reeves thought he had it.
I thought he had it. But that doesn't make any difference, does it? It's what the guys down there think. Benjamin's right here in the middle.
I still think he had it.
Well, they're going to look at it now. They just signaled the umpire, who told the referee.
13. If that play had been ruled the other direction, it would have been enough for a first down. 2:52 left to play in the first half. Denver 10. The Giants 7. Elway this time out of the spread. Under heat, safety. George Martin.
George Martin has had big games against these Broncos. Remember, it was George Martin who intercepted the pass in the first game and ran it in for a touchdown. And now it's George Martin, the 12-year veteran, who comes up with a big play, the sack for 2 points. Number 75 from the outside, working against Ken Lanier. Just keeps going up the field. Elway started to fall into that side, and Martin gets 2 points for his team.
And it's 10-9, 2:46 left to play in the first half. And a safety, it's 2 points, yes. But what else it does to you can be drastic also.
Well, of course, the Broncos now have to kick a free kick to the Giants, and that'll be from the 20-yard line. Now, the Broncos are still huddled up over in the sideline. The free kick can either be your kickoff guy or your punter. Now, I'm sure that they'll use their punters in this thing, and they'll punt from the 20. So the Giants get 2 points. Now they're going to get the ball right back, and usually with pretty good field position.
If it is your kickoff guy, though, in this case it would be Carlos, he can't use a tee. So he's not used to that. So it is going to be Mike Horan to Phil McConkey in the middle for the Giants.
The Giants, the restraining line now is 10 yards, so the Giants return team starts on the 30.
10-9. Denver leading with 2:46 left to play. The Giants have 2 timeouts left in the first half. Kick is not very good, but it gets away from the Giants. McConkey, Tom Flynn chases it down, and the Broncos come out of that one smelling like a rose, as in bold.
Well, the Broncos needed something because they had a great drive the time before. They went all the way down, and then they missed the field goal. And you know that's going to come back to hurt them. Then the next time they get the ball, they give up a safety. So we're in a process right now that the Giants are taking over this game. And the Broncos defense now has to get it back to them.
2:36 remaining first half. Giant ball, 1st and 10, their own 25. Bobby Johnson split wide to the right. Now he comes in motion. Sims goes back to throw it. Gets it upfield to Joe Morris. And Morris taken down by Ricky Hundley. Good open field tackle.
Ricky Hundley, number 98 of the Broncos, the inside linebacker, was talking about being able to see Joe Morris. He said, that's tough for an inside linebacker. He said, because Morris is short and you can't see him. He said, so what we have to do is just read our keys. And if we read our keys, that means, you know, the guards pulling and the tackles blocking down and so on. He said, if we read our keys, the keys will take us to where Morris is.
2 minutes left in the first half. Denver up by Sims to throw. Has some time. To Maurice Carthon to about the 30. Stopped this time by Mecklenburg and Ryan.
You know, you talk about halftime, you talk about, you know, Brent and Dan Deerdorf. One of the plays I'm sure they're going to talk about is that Clarence K play. Let's watch it again, this time from reverse angle, and it doesn't look like the ball hit the ground. See the ball coming in? It never hits the ground. It looks like Clarence K did, in fact, catch that ball. So now they didn't get that ball, so they had to go in the third. Then they got the safety. So that's a big, big play in this first half.
Remember that. Sims, Bavaro up the middle, incomplete. He had a couple of steps on Tony Lilly. Sims just overshot it.
You know that Mark Bavaro is big and he's strong and he's a good blocker. but he doesn't look that fast. But I think he has sneaky speed because somehow he ends up deep behind these guys.
And open a lot.
Open, yeah.
Landetta on the punt. And Wilhite back deep for Denver. He had a great year. Not his best, but not bad. Wilhite, no fair catch. Around the outside to about the 38-yard line where the Broncos will take over. 2 timeouts left and 1 minute and 5 seconds left to play in the first half. Robbie Jones made the stop on Wilhite.
Well, the Bronco defense did a good job of stopping the Giants on that drive because, like I said, they had to take this game back over. They just lost the 2 points. They had bad field position. They, that K thing, that play that's going to be discussed for a long time, and all those things going against them. Now they turn it around, and they end up with pretty good field position.
105.
Bottom right here, number 23. See him coming in. He got hit. Oh, he got blocked right there. Yeah, he got knocked right out of the frame in that one. He got an elbow up under the chin is what it is.
That's a tough hit when you get knocked out of the frame.
Yeah, and the only thing left in the frame is the bottom of your shoes.
And the cobwebs. 1st and 10. Broncos at their own 37. Elway is going to go to work. Sewell was the intended receiver. He started to turn upfield before the ball was in his possession, as they say. So far, this is the way the game has gone. The Broncos scored on their first 2 possessions. Elway got 158 total yards, and George Martin got the sack on Elway in the end zone, and that made it 10-9. Broncos lead by a point with 1 minute, 1 second left to play in the first half. 2nd and 10. Elway with a lot of time and a lot of arm, and a complete pass to Steve Watson at the Giant 32 out of bounds, stops the clock.
How many quarterbacks do you think can do that?
None.
Go back, scramble to the left, throw across the field, and a complete pass like that. Watch him. Now, most quarterbacks have trouble going to the left and throwing. But going to your left and throwing back all the way across the field, that's not an arm, that's a gun. You ought to have a permit to carry that thing.
That's how Joe Montana got hurt. Moving left and throwing right.
We did the Dallas game, and he hit that thing throwing right, that pass 50 yards in the air. I think that was the greatest pass I've ever seen.
Off the wrong foot. Oh, it's got to Wilhite. Wilhite to the Giant 20. A pickup of 11 off the shovel pass. And that should be enough and is enough for a Bronco first down.
That's a play you don't see much, that shovel pass. Remember, Jack Curtis used to do this years ago with Lee Grosscup at the University of Utah. You just go back like you're going to pass, and boom, just underhand it, shovel it out there to Gerald Wilhite. You get a first down.
Wilhite got some of the turf jammed in his face mask.
Well, that's a good thing about grass. I mean, that's just plain old grass and mud. So you can pick that stuff out of there. If you get artificial turf, it doesn't come off and up into your head thing, and you can't pull the stuff out. See here, they can just take in, pull that mud and dirt and grass, and then just wash it off, and you get a little mud going on the face.
What? Elway over with Reeves, and Kubiak is number 8, Gary Kubiak, his backup quarterback, who, as a rule, signals in the plays. Elway,
because he's blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and wears number 7, he doesn't look as big as he is. I mean, if he had like a 75 on there, you'd say he's a big guy. This guy is a big guy. I mean, he got big hands, he got big arms, he got big legs. I mean, he's a big, strong guy. He's not a little skinny quarterback.
Plus, he walks like a sprinter. He's quicker than people think he is.
Yeah, those toes point inward.
Coming up at the half today, the 100th anniversary of Hollywood. Irv and Will, locker room reports. Brent Musburger and Dan Deerdorf analyzing the first half. Here's Elway. Has a man at the 15. Steve Sewell. Gain of 6.
Oh, they're saying no.
Incomplete.
I think that means no. I think when the official goes like that, it means no.
It does.
I don't, you know, that pass only went. That pass only went about 5 yards, didn't it? So he probably doesn't care with the incomplete there.
I know one thing, it doesn't take long to get there with that arm.
I'll tell you, they talk about the Elway cross. It throws the ball so hard that he implants the cross of the nose of the football right in your chest. Steve Watson was saying that. You see, here's the ball. See, here's the tip of the ball. You see right here? This right here forms a cross. Well, when Elway gets so much spin on the ball going like this and so much velocity, well, this cross just gets implanted right in your chest. And guys walk around with a lot of crosses all over them.
There are enough ways to get hurt in this game without getting hurt by the ball.
Yeah. Well, they got dances, stomps, and stuff. And one of the things there's the Elway cross.
The call stands.
They reviewed it again. Second down. Incomplete. Dan Reeves with the orange Bronco tie on.
Done a heck of a job with these Broncos. Tom
Really?
Landry ought to be proud of his ex-coaches. In the last couple of Super Bowls, he's had 3 out of 4.
Flag. Elway out of the pocket. Pass out of the end zone, but the penalty marker back. Somebody on the Giant defense jumped. Vance Johnson was the intended receiver, or at least he was the Bronco closest to the ball against the Giants.
That'll be 5 yards, and we'll see the jump right there in the middle. Jim Burt was the first guy to
Number
jump.
64, defense, second down.
It is against Burt.
He shouldn't be jumping. He didn't go that far. The only time you should jump is if you're going to go a long way. You're going to hang around the line of scrimmage. Don't jump to do it. Whew.
28 seconds remaining in the first half. The score, Denver 10, the Giants 9. Elway looking over the Giant defense. Will Height, I think, was the intended receiver. The ball whistled by him so fast, he didn't even see it.
I'll tell you, with that ear hole, though, in your helmet, you can probably feel it. You don't see it go, pew, right by you. You just hear that swish goes right in the ear hole. I tell you, this is a big down here, this third down. If they don't get it in here, they're going to have to let Rich Carlos try another field goal.
3rd and 5, the ball at the Giants 16. Jackson split wide to the left. Watson to the right. Look out for him. Incomplete to Mobley, who hits the goalpost. I'm not sure who's bigger.
The goalpost is still shaking. Look at those poles are still shaking.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, when you bring a 270-pound load into a post, that post doesn't stop, and now Carlos has to kick into the shaky post. Good coverage. Double team coverage. Mobley's going to go into the post. Gets kind of a spinner on it. Now Carlos has to kick into it, still shaking.
To a shaky post. Some kickers are shaky anyway. From 34 yards out, Carlos. No good again.
Bill Parcells nods. He said, that's the second one. He said, you need some breaks like that. And I think as well as Denver has played in the first half, for the Giants only to be down by 1, I think that's an advantage Giants.
Just looking over on the sideline behind Dan Reeves, Tom Jackson was up walking and looked reasonably healthy, so he might be back.
That Bronco offense has done everything they've had to except get the ball in the end zone on 2 drives, and then they just get the ball out here. Elvis Patterson provided the pressure from the outside.
So they'll let it run down in the first half of Super Bowl 21. And if we're back and talk it over, that's the end of the first half with the score. Denver 10, the Giants 9.
Raul Allegri told me that your depth perception in this stadium is very close. You can stand at the 50-yard line, and the goalposts appear to be at extra point distance. So when you have a short to medium-range kick, you appear to be much closer to the goalpost than you actually are. So you must kick the ball down the middle, not to the right or the left, as Carlos said. He kicked to the right, and the ball drifted by because he's further away than they thought. As far as the Giant players themselves are concerned, they came into this locker room drained. I think this heat has really affected them. They haven't played in this kind of weather since September. They're going out now. There's not a whole lot of emotion, but they've got serious looks on their faces. Well,
Irv, I'll tell you, there's an injury report here from the Denver Broncos dressing room, and it's not good for Bronco fans. Tommy Jackson, their fine linebacker, will not play the second half. He went out, but without pads. He had an injury to his right knee in the first half, and it was all iced down. But let me tell you this. The Denver Broncos did not come here down at the half. They weren't crying about the second missed field goal. What they did was get angry. They started yelling going into the locker room. And Rulon Jones set the tone. He says, we got the Giants where we want them right now, and we're going to beat them. And that's the way they walked back out onto the field for the second half. Now to you, Brent.
All right, Will, thank you. Interesting statistic. 186 yards the Broncos accumulated against that Giant defense. The Giant average for a game is only like 187. Let's send you over now to the gentleman who set the scene for the second half. Here's Pat Summerall and John Madden. Pat?
Well, Brent, I think everyone who suspected and talked about this was going to be a blowout. We got a solid, good football game. It's 10-9, as you said. John, how'd you see the first half? How would you review it?
Well, I really think that the Broncos played better than the Giants did the first half. And I think that, you know, it's easy to blame the kicker. I would say that Rich Carlos got down there, he missed 2 field goals, and he did. But still, you know, the first drive, the first one he missed, the Broncos were down on the 1-yard line, first down on the 1, and they didn't get it in. Then they got down to the 5, and they didn't get it in. They had 6 downs to get it in inside the 5, and then they didn't do it, and then Carlos got it there. So I think a combination of Denver playing very well offensively, but not playing well on the goal line, or the Giants playing very well on the goal line.
But for the 2 misses of field goals, it could be 16-9, and we have to go back and look at that safety again and the play that preceded that. That could come back to be a major factor in this game. It's 10-9, Broncos at the half. The Rose Bowl. Or from the Slice Blimp. Super Bowl history. Halftime leads, the average first 20 games. The lead was 10.7 points. Today it's only 1. Lee Roussan and Phil McConkey back deep for the Giants for Carlos kickoff. And it's Roussan. Outside the 20. Outside the 30. Out of bounds at about the 37 by Mike Harden.
As Phil Simms comes on, Pat, we looked at, he was also patient in that first half, throwing that shorter stuff. 8 for 8, under 10, 4 for 6, between 10 to 20 yards. So all his completions were in that area. Now, he only threw 1 in the 20 to 30, and none deeper than that. They were all incomplete. So he's been in that area from the line of scrimmage to the 20-yard line with all his completions.
Morris and Carthon behind Phil Simms for the Giants. Bobby Johnson goes in motion. Now Morris to the outside.
Go Morris.
A gain of 3 by Steve Foley.
Yeah, Pat, we talked about how they moved Carl Mecklenburg around, number 77. Look how he did it in the first half. Well, look where he lined up. He lined up in 7 different positions. Joe Collier, the defense coordinator, tries to put him where he thinks they're going to run. And look at this distribution all the way across the line. Most of them he lined up 7 times on the left side.
2nd and 7. Roussan is split out wide to the right. Mecklenburg stayed in the middle that time and now retreats in coverage, and Simms gets it outside to Maurice Carthon. Outside the 40, about the 43, a gain of 4. Stopped by Andre Townsend.
Yeah, we talk about distractions. We were talking about it at halftime, and everyone talks about the distractions of the Super Bowl. I think one of those distractions and one of the tough things is the long halftime. You're used to going in there, just talking a little, boom, coming right and back out. Now, this halftime is double the length of normal.
3rd down The ball's at the Giant 44. Joe Morris. The handoff from Sims. Going for the first down, and he won't get it. Lewis Wright, the first man up there, the veteran who has played so well for so long. We keep saying number 20 is going to slow down, but he hasn't.
Well, that's the thing that they said they had to do, is they had to stop Joe Morris, offensively number 20, so Louis Wright, defensively number 20, does it. As you said, he's been in the league 12 years. Now, that's a long time for Louis Wright, for anyone, but especially when you're playing cornerback.
2 feet short. Vendetta already on the scene looking at things. Will Height goes back for Denver. The Broncos lead at 10-9. Punt return, 9 yards.
It's funny, the Giants came out in the first half, and I think that was a better approach. They came out, we're going to throw. We're going to loosen you up. We're going to attack you. Then they come out in the second half, and they're going to run.
Look out, Rutledge.
This could be a fake punt. It's a trick.
Rutledge with a long count, hoping they'll jump offside. Now Godfrey is the center.
They only need less than a yard, and he can run an option.
Rutledge, the quarterback, runs for the first down. Nobody jumped offside, but it worked.
Did you see the smile on Bill Parcells' face? Those are gutsy calls. You go for it on 4th down. Everyone wants you to go for it when you're a coach. But then when you do go for it, that takes a lot of guts to call it. It's easy to put in, hard to call. Jeff Rutledge, they get a double team on the nose tackle, and Rutledge just runs right to the right.
They got the first down.
Look at the smile on Parcells. I had the guts to go for it. You guys had the talent to do it. Which is more important?
They both are important. Rutledge, who did the quarterback sneak, got the first down. Giants at their own 47. Now with the regular offensive setup back in there. Sims back to throw. Up out of the pocket. Off to Morris. Or to McConkey. It was Morris. Mecklenburg got him down, but a gain of 12.
Joe Morris is really known as a runner. I mean, he's more of a running back. He's really not a blocker. He really hasn't been a receiver. He said that for him to be a complete back, he said he'd like to be a better blocker and a better receiver. He said he's really not. He said, I'm not really a halfback. I'm just a running back. That's all I am.
Can't block when you carry the ball all the time. Roussan has replaced him now. He's back there with Maurice Carthon. Sims back to throw. Got some time. Down the middle, Roussan. Inside the Bronco 20.
Okay, that pass pattern has been amazing for the Giants. It's what they call a seam pass against the zone. What they do is they put a wide receiver down here, a back down this seam. If the safety goes over here, they hit here. Now watch, they just get 2 guys streaking down the field together. You see the outside receiver go and the halfback. You see him now, that puts a bind on that safety. If he goes back, he hits Roussan. If he goes over, he hits Roussan. If he stays, he can get the outside guy.
First down, Giants at the Denver 17. Morris again. Around the corner. Inside the 15, about the 13. Hit first by Ryan. A gain of 3.
Did you see Dennis Smith come flying in there, number 49? Watch him right there. Carthon's going to block him. Watch Carthon go down, upend Dennis Smith. That play could have been a 5-yard loss if he makes a tackle. Good block by Maurice Carthon.
Gain of 3, second and 7. Giants at the Denver 14. Bobby Johnson and Lionel Manuel both split wide to the left. Sims looking in that direction and now to the right. Complete to Carthon. Knocked out of bounds at about the 14 by Wright. A gain of only 1.
You were talking about Louis Wright being a 12-year veteran playing corner. Dan Reeves was telling us that he thought one of the best games he had was against Cleveland. 12 years, one of the best games he had tackling and playing the run was just 2 weeks ago. That's amazing that a guy can run fast enough for that many years to be a cornerback.
3rd and 6. Galbraith in the backfield with Sims. Conkey on the move. Sims to Bavaro, touchdown.
Says anything, Mark Bavaro, he hardly ever smiles, and I think we caught a smile on that one. Watch him, he started from a 2-point stance, he gave Dennis Smith a little push to the outside, then he went inside.
Allegre will try the extra point with Rutledge holding.
Hey, you go back on that play and you give credit Sims throwing the ball to Bavaro. You also have to give credit to Bill Parcells for calling a 4th down run.
Back in his own territory.
Hey, he's done an outstanding job, not only this year, but ever since he's been there, building a team.
Putting this package together.
Gary Markwright didn't turn his mic on or it didn't work. You got to hit it.
There's Phil Sims, who threw the touchdown pass to Bavaro. His first touchdown pass went to the other tight end, Zeke Mott. Allegre's extra point is right down the middle. 16-10. Giants lead. The touchdown coming up. We have 10:08 left in the 3rd quarter. Sims to Bavaro.
Ours, as you know, is not a perfect world. May I? That's why it's so refreshing when something really perfect comes along. Like Diet Coke. Tastes great straight or on the rocks. Yet it's just 1 calorie. That's why Diet Coke is the perfect soft drink. For an imperfect world.
Just for the taste of it. Diet Coke.
It was the ultimate tip.
Giants have recaptured the lead. Their scoring drive, 9 plays, 63 yards. Sims, a touchdown pass to Bavaro, and Phil was 5 out of 5 on that drive. Allegre to kick it off. He'll kick off from the 40. And again, they're out to check on, as John Madden said a minute ago, Mark Bright's mic is not working. Back to the touchdown.
Let's watch the touchdown. See, they line up 2 receivers here. This is Bavaro here. But they want to get some movement, so they come in motion. Now Bavaro and McConkey are going to run down here. They get a kind of a big mess here. Bavaro breaks out of it and in here for a touchdown. They start 2 receivers on this side, 2 on that side. Now they have 3 on that side. And then you see right there, if we can stop it there, you see that they got him. They got him to the outside and to the inside, and Bavaro broke into the end zone.
Allegre kicks off from the 40, kicks it out of the end zone. Denver was offsides on the extra point. That's why he did it from the 40. But there's a flag down back from where he kicked, back at the 40. Allegre going back out for his tee. Giants offside. They'll do it again.
Well, that'll even it up. As you said, the Broncos were offside down there on the extra point. So then they got to kick 5 yards closer. You know, Allegre is down there, Pat. I don't know if he's doing an exercise or... You know, it looked like after the extra point that he limped a little bit. Then he looked like he's trying to stretch out his leg.
Yeah.
Watch the extra point. It looked like here that he could have twisted something there. Because when he starts to walk off, looks like he's favoring it. You see there? And then when he kicked off, he kicked it into the end zone, but he went down and started doing exercise.
Stretching again, yeah. Now he'll back up to the 35. Denver will have Lang and Bell back deep. Allegre lost his advantage.
You know, with all that paint there in that on that 35-yard line, he's trying to find a good place. See that it'll hold that T square. Because they have all the paint and stuff and aberrations.
Kick off to Lang. He takes it at the 1. They would have been better off to take it like it was. They would have headed it at the 20. Byron Hunt and Tom Flynn down to make the stop. Elway.
You know, here's the Elway distance throw. We see he was 10 for 14, under 10 yards. That's the patience part we talked about. 1 for 4 in the 10 to 20, then 20 to 30, 1 for 1. None there, and then over 40. Now those two long ones, over 20 and over 40, were both those scramble plays. That's where he gets his big plays and his deep passes.
1st and 10 Broncos from their own 14. Giants 16-10 leader. Pass deflected. Looking for Vance Johnson. But someone knocked it away.
You see John Elway, he did a twirl on that one before he threw it. Watch him, he's going to spin right around. So you see him, he goes all the way around, then he comes back. It did affect the linebacker. You see the linebackers start to come that way? Then he tried to throw the shot in there.
It was George Martin who got the hand up and knocked it away. 2nd and 10. Denver's at their own 14. Elway back again. Under pressure. One-handed catch by Vance Johnson. A gain of only 5, but that's remarkable. And he gets up slowly.
Hey, Dan Reeves is upset about something. I think it was that hit right there on Vance Johnson by Harry Carson. I think Dan Reeves thought it was late. Johnson makes the tackle, or the catch, and he's down. Then Carson does come in there a little late.
And they help Johnson off. 16-10 Giants over Denver. Set.
You see, Vance Johnson is down, and then Harry Carson comes and gets him while he's down. And watch what Reeves had to say. I think he was right.
3rd and 5. 9:22 left, 3rd quarter. Giants ahead by 6, and Elway retreats. Elway, incomplete. Wilhite, the intended receiver. And Horan will come on. Banks was the defender closest.
And John Elway is the guy that's going to have to do it for the Broncos. Remember the first play of the game, Elway ran for 10 yards. Since then, they've ran 11 times, and they've only gained 4 yards. So if they're going to do it, it has to be with the pass and with Elway.
Phil McConkey back deep for the Giants. His punt returns on the year. And Horan back to kick, left-footed. This is one of the areas where Dan Reeves thinks the Broncos have drastically improved since the first of the year. Punt. Good kick. McConkey, no fair catch. At his own 39. With room. McConkey gets it into Denver territory to about the 36 before he's stopped by Woodard. A 42-yard punt, a 17-yard return.
You don't think Phil McConkey is an exciting guy and an excitable guy and has that contagious effect on the rest of the guys? Watch him, he'll return a punt, then he'll go over and pick up a towel and start rooting. Hey, he's a tough guy. Watch him here, he starts the thing, waits, let a blocker come up, then take it right up the middle. He stays fired up.
He really does. The ex-helicopter pilot in the Navy still thinks he's flying. 1st and 10 Giants from the Denver 36, and it's Morris. Morris over the middle inside the Denver 30. Stopped by Ryan, but a gain of 7. Oates with a good block up front.
Well, the other, you know what happened is they got a kick out on Dennis Smith. Dennis Smith, the strong safety of the Broncos, is getting up in the backfield, but they're making good blocks on him. Now watch here. The ball's going to go to the left here. Now what you see, the center, Bart Oates, is going to come and lead. And see right there, he gets Dennis Smith. Smith was there, but he gets blocked and doesn't make the play.
Morris again. Stopped this time by Hundley. A loss of 1 or 2. Bill Belichick, their defensive coordinator, over on the bench. Again riding upside down. Third on the Denver bench.
Well, that's the offense there. That's Billy Bryan, the center. Usually the center makes most of the calls for the offensive line. That's why the coaches talk to the center. He's the guy that has to call the defense and then call the blocking that they're going to use.
3rd and 5. That's Tom Flynn that the trainers are looking at over on the Giants sideline. That's Manuel in motion. And the handoff is to Morris. First down and more. Steve Wilson on a stop, a gain of 9. That's what they thought they could do. Run wide on 3rd down.
Well, that's what they were talking about, is they wanted to start, and they wanted to start passing, loosen up this defense, and then come back and then run later in the game with Joe Morris. And that's exactly what they were doing. They opened up early, threw the ball, got this Bronco defense, and now they give them a dose of the running back.
Morris comes out 58 yards and 13 carries. Roussan in his place. They run it this time with Roussan. Woodard on the stop.
Yeah, this is a big secret to this Giant offense of the success, is averaging 6.8 on first down. Now that means that you're coming up and you're second and short. You're second and 4 or 5, and then you can end up 3rd and short yardage. You can go for it on 4th. Everything is in your flow.
2nd and 9. Sims back to throw. Again has time. To Manuel. Stopped by Louis Wright. Close to a first down.
The Giant offense wanted to give the Bronco defense a lot of movement because they like to change their defenses and shift. So they figured they'd let them get up there and then they'd give them a lot of motion. Just like Lionel Manuel came in motion that time and got that play. That's a plan the Giants wanted to do to the Broncos all day.
This guy, Manuel, although he hasn't been the most publicized individual this week, adds another element to the Giant offense and adds a first down.
Well, at practice on Wednesday, they said that that was probably the best day of practice that Lionel Manuel had all year.
1st and 10 Giants at the Bronco 12. Giants leading 16-10. Clock running with 5:50 left, 3rd quarter.
Hartman the ball carrier.
Right side 2 perhaps. Stopped by Jim Ryan again. And Mecklenburg.
I think when I had a run down here in a running situation, I think I'd try and get the ball to Joe Morris. I mean, he's been the guy that's been there all year and being able to get those first downs and those big plays and those touchdowns for me. And I think if I had a first down run, I'd give it to him.
2nd and 8. They're at the 10. I think you're going to get your wish right here. Or your thought. Oh, Sims is going to throw. Sims is going to run. At the 5, Ricky Hundley. And Woodard. But Sims got 5.
See him get up there and smile. They don't like to do this a lot. In fact, Joe Collier said Bill Sims hasn't run much this year. He said he used to run a lot more. He said, what the heck? It's a Super Bowl. It's the last game of the year. We expect that he'll run with the ball.
He'll take off. I don't know if that's a smile or a grimace.
it started as a smile and turned into a grimace, like one of those headaches that you get up there. Migraine.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's a migraine. I think that's a contact.
It happens to do that, you know, and it just stays up in there with you.
4:42 left. Giants, after Sims scrambled, took a timeout. Their bench and their fans are on the near sideline, and that's the noise that you hear right now.
Well, I think you're right. You know, when he scrambled and he got the cobweb in his head, I think that was a smart thing. You know, take the timeout, let him get everything back together again, because what you have is a third down play coming up, and you don't want a woozy quarterback doing that.
3rd and 3. The Giants are at the Bronco 5.
There's Carl Nelson, and that looks like a tackle. See, you got that sweat going down there. There's wet. You rub off a little. You got that thing hanging off the nose there. Hair's all messed up. Joe Morris, he got the sweat going. Now, that was one of the things Bill Parcells was worried about, and I think the worry is, you know, about the conditioning and the guys being able to go for 4 quarters. I think if it is going to be a problem, it's going to start now. It's going to be a 4th quarter problem.
It has started, obviously, because the sun has gone away, to be a lot cooler than when we began. It was 77 degrees when the game started. Now, that's not as much of a factor. 3rd down and 3, the ball at the 5. It's Morris and Carthon behind Sims. It's Manuel in motion. It's to Morris. He won't get the first down. He got only 1 yard. Rulon Jones was the first man to make contact. And let's see about Allegre, who was perhaps injured before, but look at the play first.
Well, see, that's that counter play, the counter tray, where you Morris takes a step to the right, then gets his right guard and tackle pulling, tries to get in behind him, but he cut away from him.
So Allegre, who appeared to have some sort of maybe a pull or some kind of an aggravation when he kicked the last extra point and then kicked off, is back in the game and will try from 21 yards out. Now he seems okay, and the kick is okay. With 3:54 left to play in the 3rd quarter, the Giants 19, Denver 1. Looking down at the Rose Bowl. What a sight. What a sight. Allegre kicks off, line shot, kickoff, sails into the end zone to Lang, gets away from him, and they'll down it there. We talked about it at the half, John. There's Dan Reeves, of course, the Broncos coach, about what happens once you get inside the 20. If you come away from there with nothing or with whatever.
Well, we'll see what happens. Both teams have been inside the 20, inside the opponent's 20, 3 times. But the Broncos only have 7 points, and the Giants got 17 points out of it when they were in there.
Elway and the Broncos with 3:46 left, 3rd quarter. Take over from their own 20. Wilhite is the lone setback. Banks broke free. Elway got away from it. Pass incomplete. Steve Watson, the intended receiver. Nobody blocked Banks, but John Elway, a tremendous athlete, got away from him.
Banks is looking up there. He's looking up at the replay to see if they would show what he did wrong so he could correct it. They knew that. They knew that Elway was not only a scrambler, but he was hard to tackle. In fact, the last time they played, Lawrence Taylor had him 3 times, and Elway got away from him.
Out of his last 11, Elway has completed only 3. Watson wide right. Screen pass, Wilhite. Wilhite to about the 27-28, tracked down by Leonard Marshall and Elvis Patterson. Kubiak giving the signals to Elway. Denver comebacks the last 4 wins of '86. That's what happened. That's where they trailed. And that's what they did. So don't count them out. 3rd and 3 with 3 minutes left to play, 3rd quarter. Complete. Clarence Kay was the intended receiver. Banks the defender.
I'll tell you, that was a great play by Carl Banks. It was a 3rd down. Watch here, right at the bottom of the thing. There's 58 going against Mobley. Watch how he hits him. Mobley is trying to use the official there. Mobley goes in front of him. Banks goes behind him and still knocks the ball down.
Mobley saying, hey, look, this guy was on my back.
Oh, that was great pass defense. That was a heck of a play by Carl Banks. And Mobley tried to use the umpire, and they just sandwiched the old umpire.
Moran back to punt, and McConkey back deep for the Giants. He set him up the last time with that good return. Good kick this time. McConkey fair catch. Makes it at his own 32. The ball was up there for 5 seconds. So with 2:38 left to play in the 3rd quarter, it's the Giants 19. The crowd today, 101,643. 4th largest in history. Giants by 9. 1st and 10 at their own 32. Navarro again moves over and sets down on the right side.
Good running back.
Morris.
Joe Morris.
A gain of 1. Ricky Hundley on the bottom of the pile. Here is another thing that we talked with Bill Parcells about. And he said one of the things that the Broncos do best is strip the ball out of there. They practice that.
And you know, when you're down 19-10, now you really want it because there hasn't been a turnover yet in the game. And that's the thing that the Bronco defense has to go with. Make them get the ball back to the offense and hopefully in good field position.
2nd and 8. Sims quickly outside. Manuel. Past the 50. Covered by Dennis Smith. Super Bowl number 21 live at the Rose Bowl on CBS. And that's the situation right now. The Giants 19, Denver 10, 1:55 left 3rd quarter. Sims has thrown 2 touchdown passes. George Martin tackled Elway for a safety. That pretty well covers what the scoring has been about. Again, Bavaro moves from left to right. To about the 46, Ricky Hundley on the tackle. Lawrence Taylor, Carl Banks, George Martin over on the Giants sideline. Still work to do over on the other side of the field. More work to do. 2nd and 6. Sims is 7 of 7 this half. He worked again. Here's one of the wrinkles. Going deep for Bobby Johnson. Phil McConkey now. McConkey head over heels at about the 1 or 2 yard line. A gain of 44.
And that's the celebration. Phil McConkey wanted a Super Bowl touchdown. He said it's a great play. We're going to get the touchdown. But I want to win. It goes down in the record. McConkey scored a touchdown. That was off the flea flicker. That excites him. Watch him here. Sims is going to hand off. Pitch out to Joe Morris. He spins, turns around back to Sims. McConkey is coming all the way across the field. He catches it wide open. Now he sees that end zone. Make a fake, make a do, make a flop. But he didn't get in the end zone.
It was a good move, though.
Oh, it's a flop. Look.
1st and goal at the 1. And it's Morris. Touchdown, Giants. Seconds left in the third quarter, and Bill Parcells wants no early celebrating.
That's right. He told his defense, you got to stay fired up. You got to get it back.
Rutledge holding for Allegre.
Tell you, on that touchdown to Joe Morris, Chris Godfrey, the right guard, made a nice block. Watch him. He's going to get Dennis Smith. Watch 61 right there. See him pull him out, pulling out. Here comes Morrison behind him. Watch him right there. He gets the outside man, and Morris can get right into the end zone.
24 seconds then left in the third quarter, and the Giants increase their lead to 26-10. Sims, 20 out of 23, 226 yards and 2 touchdowns, and another one had set up the third.
I felt for a long time that Phil Sims was maybe the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. And I think this year, at the end of the season, this game, he's proven it.
When you got a quarter to go and plus 24 seconds, it's hard not to smile.
Yeah, but you still have to play that last quarter, and you still have to play defense. And those are the guys that are fired up anyway, and they're firing each other up.
Allegre's kickoff into the end zone deep again, and Denver will start from their own 20. 19 seconds left in the third quarter. Nose tackle Greg Cregan. And the Giant fans, at least, are starting to sing. Out of the pocket, chased down by Marshall. The third sack of Elway. Marshall's second.
You see Lawrence Taylor celebrate over there? It looked like John Elway dropped the ball.
He did.
That's why he started to go back. He felt Marshall coming from his left. Lawrence Taylor was coming in there. Watch him here. He has the ball. He feels that pressure from the left. He tries to step up. He had pressure from both sides. No, I think George Martin knocked the ball out of his hand. Bounced up. And then Marshall got it. And then Lawrence Taylor celebrated. I didn't get him, but watch this one. Oh, somersault. Up and down. Piston. Flop.
That's the end of the third quarter with the score. The Giants 26, the Broncos 10. Denver ball. Second down. Flag down. Elway chased into the end zone after being sacked the previous play by Marshall. Just to give you an idea of how the Giants dominated the third quarter, they had 163 yards. Denver had 2. Lanier, the violator.
First, we'll watch. It's down here in the bottom. You see, I think Lawrence Taylor causes a lot of penalty. You see guys jump before the ball is snapped. 56 causes a lot of that because the guy knows he's so quick, he's so strong that you have to be ready. You have to be set when he comes, so they set a little before he comes.
Second down and 25. Elway standing right on the goal line, right on his own end zone line. He retreats into his end zone. Pass picked off by Elvis Patterson. Stopped by Watson. Flags come flying. But the Giants will have possession. The first turnover today.
You know, that's the trouble with that patience thing, that short passing game. You can stay patient, but when you're down 26-10, you have to start making things happen. You have to force things. Then when you force it, that's what this Giant defense does. They pick it off. They make you make mistakes when you start to force.
Jerry Markbright, the referee. The Giants had 9 first downs in the third quarter. Denver had none. Perry Williams, Jerry Markbright has had problems with his microphone all day. That's not ours.
Watch, we see what happens here. Elway has to get rid of the ball. He has pressure there. He's forcing it into that deep zone that we've been talking about. They get a big rush, then the secondary just drops off, makes you force it, and then they start to pick things off like Elvis Patterson just did.
So the Giants take over 1st and 10 at their own 48. Sims gives to Morris, hit behind the line of scrimmage.
Joe Morris, the ball carrier.
By Rulon Jones.
But Rulon Jones, he's the second man in, 75. He starts in and he gets on Billy Ard, takes him on, pushes him to the side, and then gets in the backfield. Now Morris was running a little delay there. That's why he hadn't been in the hole yet.
Amazing thing about, well, Rulon Jones and most of the Denver linemen, they're not that big, but you never seem to get a clean shot at them.
And they don't stay blocked either. You get a shot, then they bounce off, and they go running after you again.
Sims drops. Stacy Robinson, 20, 16. First down, Giants, they're moving.
You see the end of that play, Carl Mecklenburg came flying through that screen and tried to knock the ball out of Stacy Robinson's hand. Bill Sims throws some shot here. Good pass protection. See, he has a little gap there so he can step up, get a little more time, find Robinson outside. Now watch right at the end. Watch 77 come flying at him. Right there. They had a nice move after he caught it. See, it was more of just stopping and then starting more than it was faking.
Looked sort of casual, didn't it?
Yeah, like it was out in the park, you know, Sunday afternoon. Here, throw me one. I'll stop.
Here at the 16, Morris, right side. To the 15, Ricky Hundley. Morris got 2. Hundley was the first Bronco there.
I'll tell you one thing, this Bronco defense does go after you. They do get a lot of players at the point of attack, and watch when they get there.
You hear everybody say when you talk to teams about Joe Morris, you can't arm tackling.
Well, you know, it goes back to that physics thing again. I got a lot of letters about, what power is and the formula and all, but in all the letters, one thing I say is he has a low center of gravity, and that's why he has so much power.
2nd and 9, Sims going. Going to be a flag in the end zone. Intended Bavaro. Louis Wright, the defender. Bavaro stays down momentarily, but he'll be back.
That should be more than a flag. That should be an arrest. That wasn't even close. Louis Wright knew that he was beaten, knew it was going to be a touchdown, so he just jumped all over Mark Bavaro. Watch him, he is beaten. Bavaro's behind him. Bavaro's going for the touchdown. Wright knows that he can't do that, so he just jumps on him, grabs head, neck, helmet, face mask, turns him over and everything. So what the heck? You ought to be there ought to be a citation, like a ticket for a deal like that.
1st and goal on the 1. Morris again. Not in. Ricky Hundley, number 98 again. With Louis Wright, no gain. 2nd and goal at the 1.
Well, it was close at halftime, but in the third quarter is where the Giants took over this game. In fact, look what happened since they went in the locker room. The Giants came out and had 200 yards of offense to Denver's 2. Whatever they did in there in those locker rooms at halftime, the Giants did it the right way, and the Broncos had a little trouble with it.
2nd and goal then at the 1. Giants 26, Broncos 10. The eyes and the intensity of Joe Morris. Carson was the man on the move. Sims to duck under it and take the sack. Pushed by Freddie Gilbert first. And that's the first sack of Sims.
There's a fight down there. They're still going after it. Guys are hooked up there.
Ricky Hundley.
Here's Joe Morris.
Third and goal.
Hundley had Morris, so he took him all the way, even when the play was over.
Wonder how physics would work on that.
Well, then it's low. See, Morris is still looking at him. Hey, what do you want? Physics works. You see, that's the center of gravity. That's what I was talking about.
Right.
You know, you get the speed and the time and all that stuff, and then right on top of the picture, you're going to see it. See, you see Oates there. You see some little kick in there. Morris wasn't even in on it. It was Oates and Hundley, and then Morris walked in.
Third. Sims. There's McConkey's touchdown. Look at Bavaro. He handles him like he's a rag doll. Hey, I'm keeping this ball.
He's not going to fumble it either. Look how he's protecting it. You don't know what kind of hits you're going to get in celebration. So he look, he has both arms wrapped around it. And he grips it tightly to his body. He's not going to fumble this one. You can't have this one.
Allegre for the extra point. Rutledge holding. Trying to make it 33-10. Flag down. The Broncos jumped off sides. I'm sure it'll be declined or maybe enforced on the kickoff.
There's Phil Sims. That's before the touchdown. That was calling the cadence. I think he's throwing it to Mark Bavaro.
He is.
He is. It hit Bavaro right in the face. And then McConkey came off with it. He was watching Bavaro all the way.
What a guy to get the rebound.
Parcells, he'll take credit for it. As a head coach, you take credit for those that bounce off the helmet into the hand.
You have to, don't you?
Yeah.
10:56 then left to play. 33-10 Giants. So Allegre will kick from the 40 in the direction of Gene Lang and Ken Bell. 33-10. Hit one of the Broncos on the foot. The Giants are down in mass. I don't know who came up with it. Hit Bell in the foot. The Broncos did. Bill McConkey. His touchdown he wanted so dearly.
Let's watch it here. We'll see Bavaro is here. McConkey's here. Bavaro gets bumped and goes in here. McConkey follows him like he's his little brother. Just horse around here, and then he gets the garbage off the tip. Watch him. There it goes. Watch that hit there on Bavaro. McConkey's just following him in there. See, it's just nice to be hanging around him. Look what he comes up with. Touchdown.
When things are going right, they go right. Here's Elway. Gets it outside to Vance Johnson. That should be enough for a first down to Denver.
There's Sims after the touchdown. He wanted to celebrate with one of his guys, and he ended up celebrating with Dennis Smith. And then he just celebrated by himself. Then he found a guy. There's one of his guys.
Benson.
Brad Benson.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of best friends. They even lift weights together. Benson, Sims,
Burt. Here's Elway again. Screen pass, middle screen this time to Wilson. Stopped by Banks again. But a gain of 5. 33-10. The Giants over the Broncos.
I think over the long run, Carl Banks is going to be the best player in this Giant defense. I think he's going to be there for a long time. I mean, he can do it all. I mean, he can cover, he can run, he can tackle, he can do everything. And we were talking to Bill Belichick. He said he's also the hardest working of all our players.
Here's Elway out of the pocket, gets it up the field, complete. Mark Jackson this time. And now he gets up limping.
Hey, those receivers of the Broncos have really taken a beat. And remember, Vance Johnson got it by Harry Carson after he caught one. Mark Jackson just looked like he got it then.
9:40 left to play. Giants leading 33-10. Elway is always dangerous. Wilhite, the receiver, right at midfield, a gain of 5. Greg Lasker to make the stop.
They have to do it all with signals because the Broncos aren't huddling up now.
Going in a hurry. Pass caught on a rebound, and a flag goes down. Jackson came up with a completion.
See the official with his hat off? I bet that means he was out of bounds.
Yep.
But you can come in, if you're out of bounds, you can come in and catch a tip pass, though. See, but the hat off means that the player went out of bounds. Then he throws the flag. But what they're saying is that he can go out and then come back in. He can't come back in and be the first receiver. There he goes, he's out. Now he can come back in. Now, if that was a tip ball, he can catch it.
Well, that's exactly what they ruled after discussing things. Those Gil Mace had made the judgment.
Well, you can see the tip here. See, he can't come back in and be the original. He can come back in and catch a tip pass, and that's what happened.
Bounced off Lasker. And off Sewell. Blockers in front. Sewell for another Bronco first down and out of bounds at about the 28-yard line.
I'll tell you, there is some contact down there. Did you notice that sound that you hear? And this game's in stereo. So I've always, being down there sideline, you can hear boom, whack, whack, ah. But I don't know what it feels like in stereo. I mean, there's a boom, 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 around the room.
Pretty much the same, I think. Even in stereo.
How does sweat look in stereo? How does a chewed mouthpiece look?
In stereo?
How does spit sound in stereo?
Loud. Denver first down as Elway gives straight ahead again to Wilhite. That play by Sewell was their first rush of the second half. Now that's the second. Banks on the stop again, but a gain of 6.
Well, what the Broncos are thinking now is they just want to get one in quickly and be able to do some onside kicking and try and pull something out here.
2nd and 4. Elway fires incomplete. Intended for Kay. Just couldn't come up with it.
I know what Bill Parcells is thinking now. You're ahead by 23 points. You really got this game. You've waited all your life for it. Now you just want everything to hurry up. Hurry up. Get this thing over and let us go to celebrating this season. Because we never could all year. After every game, someone's going to say, well, how about next week? After this one, they won't say that.
The next thing is training camp.
How about next year, Coach? Can you do it again?
3rd and 4. Here's Elway scrambling up the middle. Got the first down. Collins on the stop. Elway got 6. But the clock runs now with just over 8 minutes, and now that's the figure. 8 left. Giants 33, Denver 10. The book on Elway.
Well, they had a great first half. They had the opportunities. We talked about it. They got inside the 23 times and only came up with 7 points. 2 missed field goals, but once they were on the 1-yard line and couldn't score.
Here's the reverse again to Sewell. And again, it's Carl Banks who makes the stop. 5-yard loss.
It's funny how much we've seen Carl Banks and not Lawrence Taylor. I think maybe they're running more at Banks. Banks is more involved in the game. But I'll tell you, he is a force, that guy. And he's not in the Pro Bowl. There he goes. Now he's starting to wave that crowd on. Look at him. He was a helicopter. He thinks he is a helicopter the way he does that. He thinks he's one.
Second and 16, back at the 20. Elway up into the pocket, now down the middle. Elway stays on his feet, is out of bounds at about the 12. Carson knocked him out of bounds, but he got 6.
You don't think he's strong? Did you see him with his left arm? He gave Elvis Patterson, who was a strong guy, he gave him a straight arm and got by him. Well, you have to respect this guy. There's Elvis Patterson, is still down after that straight arm by Elway. That looks like a cramp, though.
6:47 left to play. It's the Giants 7 left in Super Bowl 21. The Giants 33, the Broncos 10. 3rd and 8. Broncos have it at the Giant 12. The middle is Elway again. Slides to the 10. That'll bring up a 4th down. Harry Carson there to make sure he stayed down.
Well, that's why he went down, because Harry Carson was there. Harry Carson and Banks were both standing there, and Elway had to go to the slide. Now John Carlos gets another shot at it. Rich Carlos gets another shot at it.
He's missed twice. He hit once from 48 yards out. Missed from 23 and 34. 6:12 left. Kubiak holding. Carlos hits this one, and it's 33-13. 6:01 left to play. The Broncos have all of their timeouts remaining. John Madden was just talking about taking the field goal to make it 33-13. Now they have everybody left of Rich Carlos for an onside kick. And the Giants handle it well. Bobby Johnson right there, the good hands guys.
Well, I think that makes sense that they did that. There's, we see the buckets. Now there's a 3rd bucket this week. I think what happened, there's always been like a mother and father. Like this is a father bucket, this is a mother bucket, and since the last game, they had a baby bucket. So this is a baby bucket. So they got 3 now. There's always been 2. One's going to go to Parcells, one's going to go to another assistant, and one will go to a player later in the game.
I guess that clears up the question as to whether they're married or not.
Well, yeah, well, they got married. Yeah, they got married in that baby bucket.
That's Roussan over the right side and out of bounds by Steve Wilson. That's the bucket.
Well, yeah, I mean, the bucket, you know, that's how big it is. I mean, 3rd year in the league, and then you ask questions like, is it married? Yeah, bucket's married. Bucket, you got a family bucket? Yep, got a baby bucket. And then brought the ice because we're in California. Family.
Heavy ice.
See, the baby can't sit up there with the mom and dad, though.
5:51 left to play. Roussan went out of bounds. 1st and 10 Giants. Roussan and Carthon are the 2 runners. Roussan sneaks over the left side. Rulon Jones on the stop. 33-13. The Broncos were here once before in the Super Bowl. Lost to Dallas. The Giants have never been in a Super Bowl.
Hey, that's a tough thing on that Broncos sideline. I think the gap between winning and losing the Super Bowl is as big a gap as there is in sports. The winner is a world champion. The loser just gets thrown back in with the other 26. There's no place for number 2. No one goes right. We're number 2. We're number 2. Only number 1.
Ball's at the Denver 25. Carthon over the left side. Spins for maybe 2, maybe 1. Stopped by Jim Ryan. The Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Super Bowl 21. Over 100,000 people. That's the situation right there. 33-13. Sims has 3 touchdown passes. The Giants have scored 24 points in the second half. It was 10-9 Denver at the half. Denver had had some early chances. Couldn't capitalize. Jim Burt, Harry Carson, who will handle the bucket ceremony. Unless he's just a decoy today. 3rd and 6. 4:20 left to play. Sims with the ball. Sims down to the 10. Inside the 5 to the 2. Another one of those that was not called, I'm sure. Nobody knew he was going to do that but him.
Well, you talk about a decoy. That time, Joe Morris was the decoy. The running back was the decoy. They started everything going to the right. Watch, they start here. Fake this way. Phil Simms fakes, comes back and runs this way. Watch these linebackers. Watch them start this way and not even see Phil Simms. Watch, the backs go that way. Look at the linebackers run over towards Morris. And here's Simms all by himself with nothing in here. So he just runs right up in there where there's nothing in there. And gets it all the way down to the 2.
And it's 1st and goal from there. Maurice Carthon and Otis Anderson. Now the running back. Anderson, touchdown, Giants.
O.J. Anderson, he's congratulating all the linemen. He's congratulating everyone. This is his Super Bowl touchdown. Traded from the Cardinals. Really didn't play a lot, but he's going to be in the record book. Now, from now on, it turns into fun for the blue jerseys.
And you just hope it's over on the other side of the field.
On the other side, it just stays with you for a long, long time.
Allegre missed the extra point. And so the score remains 39-13 with 3:18 left to play.
Yeah, one thing about the Super Bowl, you know, the players get money, they get a ring, there's a Super Bowl trophy, and that stuff all stays with you, but just the thought that you were the best, you were the champion, is the greatest feeling. And it's big today, and it's one of those things that is big when it happens and gets bigger as the years go on.
Well, the distractions increase, the demands increase, and I think it gets tougher every year to repeat.
Well, that's going to be the next thing. I mean, I think the Giants are going to win this. They ought to be able to celebrate. I've always thought they ought to give the winning Super Bowl team a sabbatical. They don't have to play the next year. They just go around, they do parades, they do this, they do banquets. They don't have to play, and then they come back because it is tough. But that's going to be the next question when they get in the locker room. Can you repeat?
Then you're going to find out where the parade is.
They got a parade. I think it's going to be in the Giant Stadium.
At Giant Stadium, right. The return to about the 31, knocked down by Andy Hedden. Return of 20. Again, those shots from overhead, looking down at the Rose Bowl. From the darkness now, the sliced blimp.
You know, Pat, we had 3 blimps up there today. We had 3 blimps, and we had helicopters. But the blimps, it was an NFL record, Super Bowl record. World record. Yeah, no, it's a world record. There were more blimps over a football game than any game in the history of the sport today.
And that's in the record book. Here's Wilhite. 11 yards, first down, Denver. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of the telecast without the express written consent of the National Football League is prohibited. Elway, Wilhite. Giant territory to about the 47. Lawrence Taylor on the stop. Another Denver first down, a gain of 11. 2.5 minutes left to play. 39-13 Giants. Denver in the hurry up. Threw a grounder, stops the clock with 2:20. In the direction of Wilhite again.
of thing that I'm sure that the Bronco players are just thinking, why don't we just run it out, get this thing over with. The Giant players are probably thinking the same thing.
Probably.
I wonder what the one guy, did you see number 36, Mark Haynes, was sitting there on that Bronco bench. Of course, he was traded this year from the Giants to the Broncos. Where he is playing in the Super Bowl for the Broncos against his old teammates.
2nd and 10 outside from Elway. Again, intended for Will Height. There's Mark Haynes.
Yeah, that has to be a tough thing that you're on one team and you're playing your old teammates who you were around when they were building. They have to be all your friends, guys like Brad Benson there.
That's one of the good things about this being the last game of the season. He's got a chance for his nose to get well.
I think Carson threw a fake to the bucket. Seeing Jim Burt there, I think they're starting to plan their ceremony. Not doing it, just planning it now.
Elway up into the pocket, out of the pocket, down the middle. Pass caught by Vance Johnson. Touchdown. What a heck of a catch and what a heck of a throw by Elway. Kenny Hill and Herb Welch both back there. 46-yard touchdown pass.
The Broncos thought they were going to be able to do this. They just hoped it would come a little early. You know, that ball control thing, then go for a couple scrambles and try and get a deep one later. See, Elway can buy time. He just steps up, moves to the left a little, and then he just uncorks this thing down here to Vance Johnson. There, Herb Welch didn't even see that thing coming. It just went right over his shoulder.
Just heard it whistle by. Carlos for the extra point. And 47-yard touchdown pass from Elway. That makes it 39-20 with just 2 minutes and 6 seconds left to play. The game's most valuable player. And Sims gets the bucket.
Sims got the first bucket. You know, there was a player bucket to be decided later. Sims got it. Now, we still got 2 more buckets. I think we know one's is a Bill Parcells bucket, and I think the other one is going to be another coach's bucket. Look who goes against it. 2 offensive linemen. Bart Oates, Brad Benson, whap, on the quarterback, who's the MVP.
Again, the Broncos shoot for the onside kick, and it doesn't work. And the Giants come up with the ball. Zeke Moat this time. 2:03 left to play.
I don't think Sims can go in and play offense now.
Look at this.
No, he weighs like 5 pounds more. They have to put Jeff Rutledge in there. Sims said, I can't play. Ball would just slip out of my hand. I know what he's saying. He's saying it's cold.
There's Rutledge.
Well, the quarterback can't play when you get the bucket.
Plus you're cold.
Rutledge says, what a way to get in a Super Bowl. The starting quarterback gets the bucket, and I got to go play.
Rutledge was in one before when he was with the Rams.
Well, he was in one today. Remember the 4th down play where he picked up the first?
Yeah.
That I think was a big, big play and a turning point in this game.
That's Tony Galbraith with the ball. Stopped by Andre Townsend. Think Burt's coming back in?
Oh, he looked like he got a bucket.
That's the first time he's been able to lift his arms all year. 39-20. The Giants lead Denver. NFL on CBS, and this has been Super Bowl number 21. The Giants' year. Rutledge. Handoff to Galbraith. And the clock runs now with 1:45 left. Ricky Hundley on the stop. Carson has changed shirts and is in the security uniform now. That's the yellow jacket that security people. And there it comes.
Well, there's 2 kinds. There's plain water and there's the sticky stuff. And when it has color in it, it's sticky. And I'll tell you, Bill Parcells loves this one.
Rutledge just kneels. He got another one. They washed out the sticky stuff.
Well, a Super Bowl is worth a double bucket. It really is. Look, he's saying, hey, is there any more there? You guys got any more? Now he looks at the clock because he's looking up there to see how long he has to stay there. He thought it was all over. And I'll tell you, he got the big one there.
Did he ever? That looked like he was going on a honeymoon somewhere. With that waterfall. Carson, who's done it all year. Don't forget, stay with us. We'll go to the locker rooms of both teams. Meet the outstanding players. The most valuable player again, Phil Simms. The trophy presentation by Commissioner Rozelle. And the heartbreak in that locker room. No matter. It's been a great year in Denver. Doesn't show right now, does it?
Well, the big thing is, you know, and they're all going to say it, it's not getting to the Super Bowl, it's winning the Super Bowl and being the champion. And the difference in the feelings, I mean, the Giants are as high a thrill and as big a thrill, as emotional as you can ever get in sports. And I think the Broncos are the opposite side of that. There's
Jim Burt and his son.
You talk about a look-alike. That kid's playing nose tackle in kindergarten. He goes one-on-one. Look at the size of that guy. Look, he's going nose to nose, head to head.
It's like he could wear the same jersey.
Oh,
almost.
yeah, they butt each other. That's how they say good morning. They give each other a butt. The defensive coordinator in Burt, Bill Belichick. He's getting it there. He might not come out of that hug.
John Landetta's got a ball. He's going to take away with him.
Probably be practicing punting tomorrow.
The most valuable player, Phil Simms.
And on his left, Ron Earhart, who's the offensive coordinator, who did an outstanding job.
Really?
Giant offense, you know, because they had the injuries, they had all that trouble early, but got them through that so they could have that strong finish.
56 seconds remaining. Galbraith tries to get around to the outside. Rulon Jones calls the timeout. Simon Fletcher made the tackle with Rulon. That's all the timeouts for Denver. Coming up next, again, a reminder, the Super Bowl today, the post-game show, the presentation of the Vince Lombardi Trophy, interviews with the winners and losers, and all the jubilation and sadness that goes to both locker rooms. Tom Jackson, who was injured, his knee, probably his last year. He's, I think, having second thoughts about his retirement with a quarterback, John Elway.
Well, Tom Jackson is the real leader of this team. I mean, he's the guy who gives the spirit and the life and gets everyone up. And, you know, I think there he was just trying to get John Elway up. You know, and say, hey, you did what you had to.
There's Greg Lasker, Jim Burt. He looks full-grown without the pads, doesn't he? Raul Allegre with him.
Well, the Giants moved up here on Friday night, and Jim Burt was complaining to Bill Parcells, we need a weight room. You got to find us a weight room. We had to lift weights Friday and Saturday.
Leonard Marshall must have made a visit to the weight room.
Leonard just busted right out of that T-shirt. He just blew the middle out of it.
Joe Collier, who's done such a great job with this Denver defense. Fourth down. Rutledge keeps it. Rutledge is down. The Broncos will take over. Stopped by Rulon Jones. Clock will stop on that change of possession with 44 seconds remaining.
Yeah, Big Leonard, he just did blow part of that thing. It just blew right out of the T-shirt.
In the Giant locker room waiting, the president of the Giants, Wellington Mara. there to accept the trophy and the accolades that go with this Super Bowl championship. It's been a long time. Kubiak is the quarterback now. They're always through. Kubiak, middle. Broncos out of timeouts. Clint Sampson made the catch. Clock continues to run, a gain of 8. There are a lot of people who deserve a lot of credit on both these teams. Wellington Mara, you saw, the Broncos and their organization, Tim Mara, Bill Parcells, George Young, the whole group, Dan Reeves.
What was that one? I didn't hear that one.
I didn't either. 12 men on the field, I think.
Well, they all want to get on just to be on the field, you know, to play, get on the field. Lendetta may run in there and play defense. You know, other guys like George Martin and Harry Carson, guys that have been around there, Brad Benson, for a long time, been through the bad years, to go through that, stick with it, and come up to today, has to be a special day for everyone, but for those guys, I think it really means something. More, bigger.
I think, John, when you go back and look, as we have an opportunity maybe to sort of reflect on the early part of the game, the Broncos got there and didn't get the points. I think that has to be something that they'll be thinking about a long time.
Well, that was a big part of this thing, and then that halftime, I mean, the way the Giants went in and came out in the second half and just dominated and took over that game in the third quarter. And then with this defense, this great Giant defense, when they get ahead, boy, they just smother you. They make you play uphill, and they're just playing downhill on you and knocking you out. Next thing they're trying to figure out there is who's going to carry the coach off. See, they're playing him. Brad Benson was back there playing him. Yeah, we know Jim Burt won't. He already has something to carry off there.
Here's Kubiak out of the pocket. And Sampson scampers out of bounds, stops the clock, a gain of 11. Broncos keep hanging on and hanging in.
The fans are booing that one. They want the game to be over and the celebrating to start.
I'm amazed as you look around the Rose Bowl, nobody's left. The place is still full.
I tell you, this is a great place for a football game. And you know, and the weather's nice, and it's a nice day, and you know, you're enjoying, and it's a happening, and you're there, and you know, to go there and not see it to its finish, you know, doesn't make any sense either. Because this place is going to be packed. Getting out, you can't get out anyway.
Yeah, you might as well stay, I guess. Kubiak down by Dorsey. And Pepper Johnson. And Eric Howard. And Parcells is up on the shoulders of the offensive lineman.
He's saying, not yet. It's okay, Bill. It's okay. You got it.
John?
I'll tell you, he feels great. This is as good as it gets. Doesn't get any better than this. And the great thing about it, it lasts forever. It's not something that's not there tomorrow.
Can never take it away.
Well, they have a net, you know, that's a stomp and grind.
Pepper Johnson and William Roberts.
And they have a name. And go right in the middle of the field and do it. You know, they say it's business. They talk about, you know, this and that, the business, the agents, and the strike. When you're out there and this is happening, it's a game. And it's fun, and it's playing, and it's kids.
It's
I'd just stay out in the field. I wouldn't get on. Bill McClark is saying, I don't want to stay out here.
Rutledge with a football under his arm, and that, as you said, was indeed a key play. Wellington Mara in the middle of the team. Parcells. Well, John Madden and I would simply like to say we enjoyed it, and thank you. Final score. The Giants 39, the Broncos 10. Stay tuned for the postgame show and the presentation of the Vince Lombardi Trophy. Also interviews with the losing and winning teams. That's all coming up on the postgame show. CBS Sports coverage of Super Bowl number 21 will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
Coverage of the Super Bowl 21 postgame show is sponsored by the 1987 German-engineered Volkswagens and your Volkswagen dealers. U.S. Sprint, where every fiber optic call will sound like you're right next door. And by IBM.
The celebration going on now surrounding Jim Burt as he attempts to rejoin his teammates down here in the victorious locker room area. And now it is time to present the Vince Lombardi Trophy for this great season-end performance, not only by Burt, but the entire New York Giant football team. And with me is the Commissioner of Football, Pete Rozelle, and one of the co-owners of the New York Giants, Wellington Mara, and their outstanding coach, Bill Parcells. Commissioner, you make the presentation.
Well, I'm very pleased to congratulate Wellington Mara, the president of the Giants, and also the president of the National Football Conference. Well, your father, Timothy J. Mara, founded the Giants in 1925. And that first season, you were a 9-year-old ball boy. And ever since that time, I think the Giants have been both the business and the love of the Mara family. Bill, all I can say is I'm sure you will reject it, but you're this year's NFL Genius coach. President Reagan has been watching, and he asked me to advise you that at your convenience, he'd like to have the whole Giant squad at the White House. Well, congratulations.
Wellington, your thoughts now.
Well, Brent, 2 weeks ago, I told Virginia McCaskey that if there were words to express my opinion, I didn't know them yet. And I'm not any smarter today than I was then. But I'm very proud to represent the great bunch of men, our coaches and our players. And I'm very happy to accept this in their behalf in recognition of the effort and the achievement that they accomplished by their effort this year. Bill, take it away.
Coach. Great moment for you, Bill, and I have to harken back to the third quarter. It was 4th and 1 at midfield. There are a lot of coaches who would have said, let's punt it. I've got a great punter and a tremendous defense. You decided to gamble at that moment in this game. Tell me about it.
Well, it was about 2 feet, and it's something we've had all year, Brent. And, you know, you're trying to win the game. This is for the World Championship, and, you know, it's not for faint-hearted people. So you got to take your shot, and, you know, it just paid off. I have a lot of confidence in our guys. When I challenge them with that kind of call, they try to make the play. They made every one of them we tried this year.
Bill, did you do anything differently when you saw that Phil Simms had such a hot hand here today?
No, but I'd just like to say that I think that ought to dispel any myth about Phil Simms, because I'll tell you, he was absolutely magnificent today. Absolutely.
The best game played in a Super Bowl in a long time by a quarterback. You'd have to harken back to the performances of a Terry Bradshaw.
Well, that might be the best game the quarterback's played, and you might count all the games for this year.
Now, coaches have had so much trouble repeating, coming back again. I hate to yank you into the future, but what will you tell this group of athletes to try to keep their mind focused in on winning again?
My guys got a good work ethic. They're dependable. They're reliable people. And I think the challenge will be to, you know, to see what we can do and maybe separate ourselves from some of those other great teams. If we can come back and keep competing the way we have, you know, I think we'll be competitive for a while.
Congratulations, Coach. You did a magnificent job.
Thank you,
all right. And our Super Bowl today, post-game festivities will continue for the New York Giants here in the Giants locker room. The man who made it work, Phil Simms. He's with Irv Cross. Let's go to Irv.
You know, Brent, Phil Simms threw 11 consecutive receptions, setting a Super Bowl record. Of course, you did everything well, Phil, your MVP. Did you feel like you could have gone 100% today?
Yeah, I did. I just felt like when we were warming up, I just told everybody, I said, I got it today. You know, I was throwing the ball real well. And, you know, we had a lot to prove our offense coming in here because people didn't say anything about us all week. And I think everybody thought our receivers couldn't be a part of this game. And we had something to prove. And we talked about it all week. We were going to come out of here running, and we were just going to see if they could cover us. And the receivers, everything, the game plan was terrific. It really was.
Well, what was the difference in the first half and the second half? Of course, you guys didn't score against the ball the first time we played them in New York, but you were a completely different team in the second half.
Well, today in the second half, you know, in the first half we moved it every time. I just had a breakdown a couple of times and just missed completing big passes. And, you know, we stayed with the same stuff, and we just got it going, and we hit a few big plays. And, you know, sometimes you get it going in this league, it's hard to stop it, and that's the way we were today.
Congratulations, Phil. Super Bowl 21's most valuable player, Phil Simms. Brent.
All right, Irv, the other co-owner of the Giants and a man who was instrumental in helping bring George Young to the franchise is Tim Merritt. Tim, you had to turn this group around. There were some lean times. Your reflections.
You're right, Brent, and I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of my mother and my sister and myself to congratulate the players, congratulate the assistant coaches, and to congratulate the greatest head coach the Giants have had in my lifetime, Bill Parcells, and to thank this man right over here, George Young, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have done this today. And I'm very happy for all our fans because they deserve it. Thank you, Brent.
Thank you. George, your feelings now. This is such a great moment for you. You helped put this team together.
Well, Brent, I'm so happy for both sides of the Marrow family because they gave me the support to try to help Bill Parcells do the wonderful job he's done and how well the players have done. We have great players and great support from the owners. What else can you say? And I'm very happy really to see the happy faces of the Giant fans because they've supported us so much for so long.
Well, George and Tim, I don't want to sensationalize the point, but nor do I want to leave without referring to it. And that's the fact that Wellington and Tim do not get along, but the fact remains. They kept the focus on winning football games. They got the job done this year, and they deserve to be acclaimed for that. We will continue with the Super Bowl today. Will McDonough in the Bronco locker room. Let's go to Will.
Brent, thanks very much. Dan, it looks like he had a great opportunity in that first half to put this ball game away.
Well, Will, first of all, I'd like to congratulate the Marrows. George Young, Bill Parcells, the entire coaching staff, and a great football team, you know, for winning the Super Bowl. They certainly played a great football game. The first half, we just didn't, you know, we should have scored about 10 more points at least in the first half. And we knew going into the ball game, if we didn't take advantage of every opportunity we have, we'd be in, you know, tough shape. And we missed a couple of field goals, got first and goal to go on and one and don't score. And so that really was disappointing coming into half, but we still had to lead.
In the second half, they just took the game away from you.
Well, they did. The field position, you know, in the third quarter really killed us. We had the ball backed up, I think, on a 15-yard line about the first 3 times we touched it. They keep us from making a first down. They get great field position, and their offense stuck it in the end zone. We knew going into the ball game, or felt like going into the ball game, we couldn't get in a scoring contest with them because their defense is a 2-minute defense all the time, and we just didn't have enough to keep it interesting there in the third quarter.
Danny, congratulations on a great year. Let's go back to Brent.
All right, well, Coach Reeves alluded to that defense, and 2 of the key members are right with me. The youngster, who is destined to become one of the best in the NFL if he keeps playing at this rate, Carl Banks. Carl, the goal line stand, the third down play, you had a huge hand in it. Tell me about it.
Well, it was a key play for us, and the key to making the play was to get penetration. And I got down to 3-point stands, and I said, hey, I got to get in the backfield because they are slashing runners, and they want to hit it quick up into the hole. So it was 2 tight ends, and I got in between the both of them, and I just darted in the backfield.
All right, Carl, and of course, George Martin, he scores more points than any defensive player in history. George, the safety, you score a touchdown against him in game 1, but tell me about the safety today.
Well, first of all, Brent, I'd just like to sincerely thank Jesus Christ for being a part of my life and thanking all these guys for making it possible. The safety was a little bit of my trickery that I incorporated. I called to my defensive tackle, Eric Howard, and I told him that I was going to give him a dummy call and to make the offensive tackle think we're going to run a game. And I faked inside, and he bit on it all the way. And then I came outside, and there was John Elway out there, and I just wrapped him up and scored another 2 points.
Was it a physical football game? How would you characterize the play out there on the field, George?
I think initially it was very physical on us. It was very draining and taxing because we weren't accustomed to the hot weather. But after the second half, we came out and made some obvious adjustments, and we became accustomed to it and played our brand of football after that.
Sure did. Congratulations. We're going to come back with another star of that defensive unit. Defense, if you will. And please don't tug on Superman's cape. Lawrence Taylor is standing with Irv Cross. Irv?
Here, Ben, if you ever wondered what was under number 56, you're looking at it right now. You know, Lawrence, how much did the heat affect your ball club?
Well, it affected dearly. You know, in the first half, you know, it was so hot, nobody could catch their breath and stuff. And I think the heat of the first half really made it much more difficult for us to play, but guys were getting tired. The second half, when it cooled off, we came out and said, hey, this is our type of weather. Let's go out and play ball. And I think the cool weather in the second half gave us momentum to go in and play well.
You know, something unusual going on in this locker room. You're Super Bowl champions, and I don't see any champagne. I don't see any flying around the locker room. When are you going to have the celebration?
I just don't understand. You know, maybe we had to be putting Mets on our uniforms, something like that. But we're going to have a little party later on tonight and over at the hotel, so we'll have some champagne, believe me.
Congratulations, LT.
Thank you very much.
Brent.
All right, Irv, thank you very much. One of the reasons why you don't see champagne in this locker room, the National Football League will not allow it in their Super Bowl celebrations. And we'll continue with our post-game show, Super Bowl triumph, a shining moment they will never forget. And now we'd like to pay tribute to all of those at CBS Sports who made this broadcast possible for you this afternoon and this evening. So long, everybody.